can't change the culture. I see the hate, so say what you say, cause I gotta watch for the vultures. Why I'm so nice, you see the ice, plus I'm only getting colder. You just tryna flex like you got next, really you know that it's over. Yeah, hey, I don't need no co-star, been gone like so far. Plus I'm catching all the rays from the sun, give me power like I'm solar. You cannot catch the drip, yeah, that is unless you a coaster. And we up, yeah, way up, yeah, they gon' put this on a poster. I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things, yeah, that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I put that on me. Yeah, I put that on me. Walk tall, see the car, doing nothing small, I'ma be the greatest. Good luck keeping up everything I can, you know what the name is. Plus I've been through the training, straight shot how I'm aiming. Never stop, try to put me in a box, boy, you can never frame this. I am what you might be, too fast and I'm too strong. I might juke y'all like I'm lightning, spook y'all like I'm frightening. They ain't never seen it like me, got my team right beside me. High tide, I'm rising, my time that's timely. I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things, yeah, that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I put that on me. 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 I got now, don't know who got next. Just like that, better every step. Yeah, I got now, don't know who got next. Just like that, better every step. I got now, don't know who got next. Just like that, better every step. Yeah, I got now, don't know who got next. Just like that, better every step. I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things, yeah, that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me?
Scenario, win, yeah, we on a roll. Yeah, 2, 4, 6, we like 10 and 0. I should probably tell them something that they didn't know. Back then we was down with nowhere to go. Might have been down, but we didn't fold. Now we running it like some intervals. Ooh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up. Like, wait, who? Us now. What you gon' do when we pull up on you? Like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when I come through you. Ooh, shut down. Shut down. Say, ooh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up. Like, wait, who? Us now. What you gon' do when we pull up on you? Like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when we come through you. Ooh, shut down. Ooh, shut down. Ooh, give me that crown. I need that now, right now. Ooh, don't make a sound. It's my time. You hear the crowd. Yeah, we need that rain. Me and my team. Deja vu, this here a dream. We done all seen 100 times over back when we was just teens. Now we going dumb, told them we the one. They would count us out, now we counting up the funds. Now without a doubt, they be throwing up the ones. Like they was always rapping, yeah, believe them if you want. Now they show love, came with a dub. It is what it is, it isn't what it was. They all love to hate when it don't work out. Tell you that they always been down when it does. Look. Say, oh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up. Like, down. Say, ooh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up. Like, wait, who us now? What you gon' do when we pull up on you? Like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when we come through. Ooh, shut down. Ooh, shut down. Ooh.
Yo, big boy, hey, shut down music. You can't refuse it. You know we strong, you know we bold, you know we ready for it. And any problem in this world, we gonna handle it. You coulda young, you coulda old, you know we built for this. We brave, you know we bold, you know we ready for it. And any trouble in this world, we gonna handle it. And when we come together, we dismantle it. And when we come official, put me stamp on it. And any problem in this world, we gonna trample it. Yo, this new generation, this is the new age. Heading to the future, coming out the cage. Get crazy, misbehave. Get crazy, misbehave. Get crazy, misbehave. Are you ready for the rave? Jump on, misbehave. Hey yo, you're ready for the rave. Everybody, we coming out the cage. Party people, hey, hey, hey. Jump up, jump up, jump up, jump up. Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. Jump up, jump up, jump up, jump up. Hands up, hands up. Hey. Who wants them?
Hold up.
Hey! Turn up! Hey! Turn up! Hey! Hands up! We jumping, yes, we jumping on the road. So much vibes up, yes, we ready to explode. We raving, don't you step into my lane. This feeling, yes, it's hard to explain. Flowing through my veins, flowing through my brain, driving me insane. Hey yo, get crazy, misbehave. Get crazy, misbehave. Get crazy, misbehave. Are you ready for the rave? Hey, 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 hey. Jump on, misbehave. Hey, 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 hey. You're ready for the rave. Hey, 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 hey. We coming out the cage. Hey, 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 hey. Jump up, jump up, jump up, jump up. Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. Jump up, jump up, jump up, jump up. Hands up, hands up. Are you ready for the rave? Get wild and misbehave. You're ready for the rave. Get wild and misbehave. What they want from me, 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 yeah. What they want from me, what they want from me, what they want from me, what they want from me. What they want from me. What they want from me.
When the lights go out, we start moving, running through it all that dope. We ain't losing, we ain't gonna fall back, now we going in. Ain't nobody stopping us, only option to win. So we take it all, never fall on gas. And we going hard, no flaws, all facts. If you wanna call it a bluff, let's dance. But you better trust that you stand no chance. We on that next level. We on that next level. We on that next level. No capping, ain't nobody quite as good when I'm rapping. When I hit the stage, the flames they start flying. Ironic, the king of the jungle, but not lying. Wouldn't be as good as me if I stopped trying. Better just pick a corner and start crying. I'll be the one they looked up to when I'm crashing down. I was born for the throne. I look good in that crown. When the lights go out, we start moving, running through it all that dope. We ain't losing, we ain't gonna fall back, now we going in. Ain't nobody stopping us, only option to win. So we take it all, never fall on gas. And we going hard, no flaws, all facts. If you wanna call it a bluff, let's dance. But you better trust that you stand no chance. We on that next level. We on that next level. I look good in that crown. We on that next level.
Welcome to the FIFA E-Club World Cup, where the top players from the world's best clubs battle it out to become one of 6 FIFA E-Club World Cup 2021 zone winners. To make it to the zone finals, the clubs went through a tough qualification process. Let's take a step back and look at how the clubs made it here. The FIFA E-Club online qualifiers were split into 6 zones. In each zone, the clubs were divided into different conferences, where they competed in up to 3 divisions. Based on their performances, clubs moved up or down in the divisions. The qualifiers ran over the course of 4 weeks, with multiple rounds. Every week, the competition got tougher as the bottom divisions dropped off. Clubs fought to secure their spot in the zone finals, by means of a consistency ranking, or by being the best placed club in the final week of qualifiers. After an action-packed qualification round, the 42 best clubs from all over the world are competing in 6 zones. Let's have a look at how the zone finals are set up. Like the qualifiers, the zone finals are split into 6 different zones. Zones have been divided into different groups based on the number of participating clubs in each zone. Clubs have battled it out in a round-robin style competition, which means that every club has competed against one another. This setup continued to knockout stages and now culminates in a zone final with the 2 best clubs. By the end of the FIFA E-Club World Cup 2021, the 6 zone winners will be crowned.
Yeah, show me my opponent. Top spot, I want it. My grind, I'm on it. Can't stop, keep going. Wanna know me, can't call me. I remember feeling lonely. I remember when they told me I would never get the trophy. Show me my opponent. Top spot, I want it. My grind, I'm on it. Can't stop, keep going. Wanna know me, can't call me. I remember feeling hungry. Now I'm coming for the trophy. Cause this is my moment. I'm a boss till I fall, I'ma answer the call. I'm a beast, I'm a dog, and my back against the wall. I accept every challenge, had to battle for my balance. From a peasant to the palace, treat the trophy like a chalice. Stay on my grind, great things take time. Now how I shine, you might go blind. Come along for the ride, cause I'm headed to the top with it. Going is my only option, they can never ever stop this. Show me my opponent, top spot, I want it. My grind, I'm on it, can't stop, keep going. One and only, can't call me. I remember feeling lonely. I remember when they told me I would never get the trophy. Show me my opponent, top spot, I want it. My grind, I'm on it, can't stop, keep going. One and only, can't clone me. I remember feeling hungry. Now I'm coming for the trophy, cause this is my moment. My moment. So many days, so many nights. I had to fall, I had to fight, I had to find the strength inside, keep hope alive. Through the dark, I found my light and now I shine. So many days, so many nights. I had to fall, I had to fight, I had to find the strength inside, keep hope alive. Through the dark, I found the light and now it's mine. Cause this is my moment. My moment. Cause this is my moment.
Give me the money, give me the loot, give me the racks. Give me the hundreds, give me the skrilla, give me the stacks. Give me the bread, give me the cheese, give me the cash. Give me the feta, give me the cheese, give me the bag. Yeah, I want it, give me the bag. Yeah, I need it, give me the bag. I be on it, give me the bag. Yeah, I see it, give me the bag. Ain't no stopping, give me the bag. I'ma make it, give me the bag. If you got it, give me the bag. I'ma take it, give me the bag. Yeah, I want it, give me the bag. Yeah, I need it, give me the bag. I be on it, give me the bag. Yeah, I see it, give me the bag. Ain't no stopping, give me the bag. I'ma make it, give me the bag. If you got it, give me the bag. I'ma take it, give me the bag. Now give me that, come up off that, cause I want that. You can see that, I'ma need that. Show me where the cheese at, where you keep that. I ain't looking for no feedback. Just the G's, man. You should know that I'm a glutton for money, cash. Though if you got it, pass that over to me, cause if I want it fast. I'm slacking them dollars. You know what I'm about, plus I be popping them collars. We in and we out. I got confessions and obsessions for getting the bag. Here's a lesson, just stay flexible when getting the stash. I want the 10s, 20s, 50s, 100 and more, but you should already know
hold up. All this money going straight to the roof. I just be stacking my money though. More give me more. Yeah. Whole lot of rolls around my waist. Skinny but fat, I got tummy roll. The flavor we talking, the money flow. My pockets to see where the money go. Whole lot of dough, I'm getting cake. No candle, leaving them very yo. I'ma get bread, hits and I'm dead. Gotta get it by the loaf. Bitch in my head, profit with bread. Man, you always got my boat. Gotta get it coast to coast. In the era on the boat. Money, money, I promote. Seriously, it ain't a joke.
Give me the money, give me the loot, give me the racks. Give me the hundreds, give me the skrilla, give me the stacks. Give me the bread, give me the G's, give me the cash. Give me the fat, give me the cheese, give me the bag. Yeah, I want it, give me the bag. Yeah, I need it, give me the bag. I be on it, give me the bag. Yeah, I see it, give me the bag. Ain't no stopping, give me the bag. I'ma make it, give me the bag. If you got it, give me the bag. I'ma take it, give me the bag. Yeah, I want it, give me the bag. Yeah, I need it, give me the bag. I be on it, give me the bag. Yeah, I see it, give me the bag. Ain't no stopping, give me the bag. I'ma make it, give me the bag. If you got it, give me the bag. I'ma take it, give me the bag.
And we taking our time. Yeah, it's all about the vibes. Okay.
We're taking it slow. We're just taking our time. We're just living our lives. We got nowhere to go. So let's stay here the whole night. 'Cause all we feel is good vibes. Yeah, all we feel is good vibes.
We vibe with it, it's a good time. We don't worry about the hate. We just pass it to the side, grab a drink, pull it up, say what's good, feeling right. All your friends, they invited, bring a bottle through the night. Tell them, we gon' get it lit, we gon' get it lit. Get a little throw, get a little bent, have a good time. Ay, and you don't need a vent. On tilt, we gon' really get it in, right? Right. Ain't no time to be lazy, oh no. I got a dozen girls coming, they crazy for show. And not a single girl rating an 8 or below. I swear to God, they gon' love it the way that I flow. Hey, yeah, and we gon' take it slow. Spending time while you turn up at a vacant show. You can take your time, shawty, you don't need to go. We at a house party chillin' if you need to know.
We're taking it slow. We're just taking our time. We're just living our lives. We got nowhere to go. So let's stay here the whole night. 'Cause all we feel is good vibes. Yeah, all we feel is good vibes.
I've been vibing with you from the jump. See the crib, I ain't even got a stunt. Making hits, I don't ever try to blunt. When I pull up, everybody wanna front now. They acting brand new every time I touch down. And to my haters, all I gotta say is what now? Hey, say hello to the new whip, flirt with your new chick. All on TMZ, so the rights all exclusive. I'm playing with you, I know you playing too. We laying back in the cut, got the eagle view. I do this all the time, really ain't nothing new. I ain't frontin' on you, shorty, what I say is true. And now we chillin', we ain't worried about the biz though. Ay, stress-free, living like kids though. And if the vibe stay right like it is, when it's all said and done, we gon' end up more than friends.
We're taking it slow. We're just taking our time. We're just living our lives. We got nowhere to go. So let's stay here the whole night. 'Cause all we feel is good vibes. Yeah, all we feel is good vibes.
I got my own, I drive my own car, I got my own whip. You already know it. Hey, y'all make noise and y'all just focus. I gotta focus. I do not hang around women that golden. You keep it noted. I get the money and y'all getting no biz. I don't do poses. I keep it pushing, yeah, I keep it coasting. Whole team rolling. Shorty act up so you know that I'm ghosting. My season approaching. I got the juice, yeah, I got the potion. Let's get to toasting. Drinking my cup, yeah, let's get to coke. Hey, what's up? Pour another in my cup. Hop in a whip, pull up, yeah. All of my girls show love, they live in the hills, do drugs. Want more, now they can't get enough. Got my own thing, got my own thing. I don't do what everybody does, no. Hey, what's up, yeah. What's up, yeah. Hey, what's up, yeah. What's up, yeah. Stop playing. I gotta know what you saying. You telling me you a fan, while you DM me from Japan. You gotta love it. I do this music, put nothing above it. I had a shorty, but I had to cut it, cause I had no time to give her what she wanted. I gotta get to the bag like ASAP. I want a brand new Maybach. Whole lot of people done doubted me. Me stunting on them is a payback. I hate to say that, but I'm buying whips and I pay cash. You should see where I stay at, cause they think I'm selling that A-flat. Hey, what's up? Pour another in my cup. Hop in a whip, pull up, yeah. All of my girls show love, show love. They live in the hills, do drugs. Want more, now they can't get enough. Got my own thing, got my own thing. Now I don't do what everybody does, no. Hey, what's up, yeah. What's up, yeah. Hey, what's up, yeah. What's up, yeah.
Hey, what's up? Pour another in my cup. Hop in a whip, pull up, yeah. All of my girls show love, show love. They live in the hills, do drugs. Want more, now they can't get enough. Got my own thing, got my own thing. Now I don't do what everybody does, no, no. Hey, what's up, yeah. Hey, what's up, yeah. Hey, what's up, yeah. Hey, what's up, yeah.
The 42 best clubs in the world, ready to write history and become legends of the badge. Ultimate glory is at stake, a chance to create a legacy at their fingertips, with dreams of achieving greatness, making their way to the biggest stage. But only 6 will be crowned this year's FIFA E-Club World Cup Zone winners.
For the heart, y'all came here for the game. I came here for the sport. Yeah, run it. We gon' stay 100. Run it. Give it all or nothing.
Should we do this? Do it. Hello and welcome to the FIFA E-Club World Cup 2021. We are delving deep into Zone 4 Europe, looking to crown the champions, and the final is between Astralis v Mkers. My name is Layla Annalee. I'm joined by Spencer Owen. It's final time.
It is indeed, Layla, and there's a big reason I'm really excited about this one. They've all been great so far. Not just is it because this is Europe, which is a massive region when it comes to competitive FIFA, but the amount of teams that tried to get here. The journey our 2 finalists have been on is unbelievable. 14 conferences in qualification, right? These conferences had up to 4 divisions. Each division would have up to 7 to 10 teams. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of teams just within the Europe region trying to get here. And I actually think the final we've got is the best final we could have hoped for. We've got 4 players, all of which who've won major championships in FIFA. So,
this is one of the most fiercely contested finals, and it's all a little bit different this year because our players aren't here.
Yeah, previously E-Club World Cups, we've been lucky enough to obviously be in the studio with the players and up close and personal. That wasn't an option for us this year, but we have got a sort of presenting team here. The players, though, are playing remotely from home, obviously in this case from around Europe. 3 of them Scandinavian, by the way. 3 of our 4 finalists. We've got 1 Italian as well, 2 Danes and a Swede. So these are the regions that are all doing super well in FIFA at the moment, and I think it's no coincidence they're in the final.
So what kind of a difference does that make? Because we know when we come to big finals in studios, it's often like, oh, the pressure under the lights and how do they feel here? They're playing at home, but the pressure's still there.
Yeah, and I think guys have started to adapt to it now, to be honest. We've been doing these events from home for the best part of a year. It was basically a year ago that I was last at an event in person, which was this event in Italy last year. So I think players have adapted to it. If they haven't, they'd have been left behind because there's a lot of events now happening regularly in this exact environment from home. You're still on the camera, you've still got plenty of people watching. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, E-Club World Cup is the one that these organisations really want to win. So there's always pressure. So you've already mentioned that Zone 4 is one of the ones you're the most excited about and the big final here. Why? Well, I mean, first and foremost, for the calibre of the players we have on display. You know, the manner of this final and all our finals is best of 5. So we get to see up to 5 legs of FIFA and 2 players in each team, obviously 1 on Xbox, 1 on PlayStation. We're a bit spoiled, to be honest, here. And we've got a player in Ollie Bolly, who is 3rd right now in the world on PlayStation. He's switched over to Xbox for this event, but he's already won a major this year. He's on a regional qualifier, and he's in the top of his game. Probably, if not the best, one of the best players in the world right now, certainly within the continent. His partner, Principe, an Italian. Italy are having a breakout year this year, doing fantastic things. He's won majors in the past as well, so it's a lot. That's why they're in the finals. His Mkers, of course, I'm talking about. You look to their opponents, Astralis, to the stars is their catchphrase, and looks like they're going that way. Massive eSports organisation, new into FIFA. What a team they've put together here. Uston, the Dane, is one of the best players to watch in competitive FIFA when it comes to scoring goals, but more recently, he started to look after his defence as well, which is making him more of a complete player. He's currently ranked 8th in the world right now, and his partner, Aga, amazingly, 201st at the moment on the Global Series leaderboards. But do not read too much into that. This guy's won multiple World Championships before. He's a serial winner, and he's actually been playing some of his best FIFA in this competition.
The intensity in your voice, we're getting excited now, I can feel it. Another person who's going to be perfect to talk to about this is our zone reporter. We've had specialist zone reporters for each region. This is Matteo on the line. Matteo, I know you've followed these teams from qualifications. You've been chatting to them. You've seen how they've played each of their games. What can we expect from today's matchup?
Hi guys, sure, it's for sure a thrilling final. We have to expect. Yesterday I had the chance to chat with Coach Dennis Jackson for Astralis, and he said that they worked a lot. They worked a lot, very very hard to be here in this position, and also Aggie and Uston are a duo inside the pitch, but also outside the pitch. They are close friends, Danish superstars, so for sure they will battle very hard to take the win. Also had the chance to speak with Thomas De Gasperi, one of the owners of Mkers, and he said to me that they weren't expecting a result like this, but of course they were excited, they were hoping about that. And also they are representing Italy, for sure, but they are very happy to bring also a Swedish superstar, Oli, to reinforce their international reputation and dimension in the esports scene.
Matteo, how big do you think it would be for these organisations if they were to win? Because obviously Astralis is a well-known esports organisation, but they're kind of just touching the surface in FIFA right now. But what a team they've put together here. This could be a major win for them, of course. And then Mkers have been doing some fantastic things for a number of years, but obviously they want to clinch this one as well. They've got a history in this competition, in the E-Club World Cup. They've done very well in it in the past. Is it time for them to win this zone?
Yeah, for sure. Mkers has been done a very, very good work in the past few years. Also, they reached the semi-finals as well in FIFA 18 in this competition, and they are the first Italian team in a E-Club World Cup final, and they have the chance to revenge themselves, because last time they lost against Brøndby, but Houston were play for them. So it's also a thing, this one. Astralis, of course, they are well known in the scene, newcomers in the FIFA scene, we could say. So I am sure that for both will be a big achievement retain this title.
Matteo, if you can tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the individual players and also how they must be feeling right now.
Yeah, sure. We have on a side Oliboli, who is the only unbeaten player remaining in the tournament, and I asked yesterday to him what does it mean for him to play against a Danish and the eSport FIFA superstar like Agi, and he said that he has inspired in a certain way his career, but he's focused on the prize, and he's not looking very, very much to his opponent. Also, Principe is looking forward to come back from a little bit poor performances he had in the first 3 days of competition. Age also is very, very excited to play in a World Cup final after a silent season. He said to me.
Well, I've got to ask you the big question then. It's a great recap from you, Matteo, but who do you think is going to take home the trophy here? Are you back in Astralis or are you going with Mkers?
You know, if we look at the stats, Mkers are in favor. So we have to see. I expect a thrilling final, a very, very open final, and let's see what happens.
Thank you so much. Great.
Sitting on the fence there a little bit, Mateo.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I've got an announcement to make. Well, I've got a prediction to make.
Make an announcement.
I could be wrong, and it has happened once or twice before, believe it or not. But this final for me...
Why are you doing this?
...is brilliant because I honestly believe the outcome would be different depending on what console we're starting on.
Ooh.
The console that we start on is so important here, and I actually think it's going to make the big difference. We're starting on PlayStation, OK? That means we're going to have potentially 3 matchups of the PlayStation players, which, of course, is Uston versus Principe. Principe has said he's never beaten Uston.
Yep.
OK? And you think about that's got to happen 3 times, and we have to have a winner every time. We can't have a draw. That puts the odds massively in the favour of Astralis. If you flip it on the Xbox side, Aga against Oliboli hasn't lost a game. So, again, looking at the stats, you'd think Oliboli's going to win all his games, but he only has 2 of them. So I'm using the stats to predict an Astralis win. But I honestly think if it was the other way around, I'd be picking a Mkers win.
So it could all be based on the console today. I want to go back to some of the things that Matteo told us as well, that he... I've gone blank. I tell you what we'll do. We'll look at the group stages instead. Let's do that. Let's have a little look at the group stages and have a look at their journey here.
Yeah, so neither of these teams won their group. It's worth saying, Group A. We had a 2nd and 3rd place for Mkers and Astralis, respectively. Mkers made it out with 22 points, plus 6 goal difference in comparison to 19 points that Astralis picked up, although slightly a better goal difference. They did meet in the group stage, and there was, as predicted, a win on PlayStation for Uston, 4-1, but a loss for Astralis and Aga to Oliboli, 4-2. So there is a clear kind of front-runner in each team. I would say that... the Astralis team is a little bit better balanced, if that makes sense, in regard to the results. You know, whilst Uston has won 4 games since the group stage, including the group stage, he's also lost 3. Compared to Aga, 4 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss. So whilst only 1 loss, which is amazing, and listen, you're not going to find a bigger fan of Aga Rosemeyer than me, 4 draws, you can't have draws at this point anymore. Those games have to have some sort of conclusion. Would they go to the win or the loss category if they'd been played, you know, into extra time? We don't know. But you look at Mkers with Principe and Oliboli, and Principe, great player in the scene, done fantastic things, but Oliboli, for me, is doing the heavy lifting in this team. Oliboli hasn't lost a game. Principe's record's not been as impressive. He's going to be a huge part for Mkers. I mean, if they're going to win this, he has to beat Uston for me. And
thank you for that, because my memory has come back. It's all eyes on Oliboli, is what Mateos is saying as well. How much pressure's on him?
Well, he has to win these games, and I think he probably will. No disrespect to Aga, but Ollie's just unbeatable right now. But the more pressure is on Principe, because he has to play 3, potentially, if he goes to 5 games. And if he can't beat Uston, then Oliboli, doesn't matter what he does. If he wins both his games, it's not going to be enough. If Uston does what he's, you know, predicted to do. So you can see the results here and the journey they've had. The most important thing about Mkers, this has to be stressed. Every single match they've had in the best of 3 has gone to a 3rd, and every single game has been decided on either penalties, 5 out of 6 occasions have been penalties, or extra time. They haven't won a game in normal time since the group stage.
That says a lot.
And that's both of them. That includes Oliboli. So they're going the distance. Great for the neutral, but I mean, are they going to get that opportunity against Astralis? I don't know. Great
for the entertainment, but maybe not for them. Let's see how Astralis ran through the quarters. Let's have a look at some of these goals.
So this is the journey that Astralis took here, and obviously they weren't relying on the full 90 minutes and extra time and whatnot. The Mkers were. They were getting their business done a little bit quicker. This is against Genoa. There was 1 defeat to Genoa, but they ultimately made it out there 2 games to 1. And this is against Monza, who did top the group that both these teams came out of course, but Astralis won when it mattered. They got themselves into the final with a consummate performance here. And as I said before, I really think it's a nice team, Astralis, in terms of the balance. You know, you've got these 2 guys, these 2 Danes in Aga and Uston, good friends as well now off the field, but they're both pulling their weight. And that, for me, is what is the most important thing in this format, is having no one player reliant on the other, both of them doing their bit.
Well, it's a club competition, isn't it? So the balance really has to be there. We've also got some Mkers goals, and of course, as you mentioned before, they were dragged through to penalties.
Yeah, I mean, great games to watch, unbelievable games, and the Mkers just kept finding a way to get out. It was unbelievable, really. The consistency in their ability to win penalty shootouts was quite amazing, because it's an element of randomness, right? An element of luck in penalties, but they found the way to get out, and I rate that from them massively. And maybe it's something they might need again in these series of 5 games. You can see some of the penalties here from Mkers. That was actually a penalty in a game, so it wasn't even just penalty shootouts they needed, it was penalties in matches as well. And this is against Schalke, And the big consistent thing for Mkers, apart from penalties, has been Ollie Bolly's ability to win matches. He has not lost in any group stage game or in any knockout game. That is very hard to do. The level of people he's coming up against. We've talked about how big this qualification process has been, how many teams have been involved. The players you're playing have done that as well. So they've been through all of it, and they're very, very high-level players. But Ollie Bolly is just consistent in his ability to win. Whether it's penalties, extra time, whatever's needed, he gets it done. But like I said before, it doesn't matter if Ollie Bolly wins his games if his partner doesn't win one. Principe has to find a way to win as well.
How do you feel their confidence is going to be stepping into today?
For both teams, I think they both feel confident because they've both done so well to get here. The process, as I mentioned, seeing some more of the penalties here, and these penalties were going on forever, honestly. It was crazy, wasn't it, when we watched that day with Mkers a couple of days ago. For me, they'll both be confident. They've both started this process late 2020. The amount of games they've played, I talked about it at the top of the show, I'll say it again. 14 conferences in Zone 4. Each conference had multiple divisions, sometimes 4 divisions, and then, 10 up to 10 teams in each division. You do the maths, that's a lot of teams that dropped by the wayside before they even got to the league phase. They've then come out of the league phase. They've then gone through the knockouts. So both teams should be so proud of what they've done, but only one can be the winner.
Well, we'll see how proud they are because we managed to speak to the teams themselves. First up, let's meet Astralis.
I have played professional FIFA for 3 years now, and in 2018, where my first year as a professional, I won the Club World Cup.
Astralis is, in my opinion, the best eSport team in the world. I mean, looking at their organization, is top professional.
Age is one of the best people I have ever met. The passion he has for especially FIFA have inspired me a lot.
To play with a guy like Fatih is it's a big honor for me, really, because I see him winning a lot of trophies in the nearest future, and hopefully one more here very soon.
The opponents we're gonna face in the final are definitely some tough guys. They have won a major each, and so they know how to play the game, like in the top level.
And Ollie Bolly is a kind of new name, but already established as one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player right now.
I definitely hope that I can get some support from my fans, my family, and my friends, and also my brother who just moved to Greece to work there, so he's not home, and I miss him a lot. So I just hope they can keep support me like they have done the past 3 years.
I could write myself into the history books with a win. The same could Østen. Østen could be the first one to win the Club World Cup 2 times, while I could be the first one to win 2 FIFA majors.
Great to see Aga there talk about how it's such an honour to play with his teammates. How much of a difference can that camaraderie make?
Massive, but what I've got to say about Aga, he's so humble, right? You haven't got to write yourself in the history books, Aga. There's already chapters written about you, pal. Aga's a big name. He's been around for a long time. He's won multiple world championships, OK? You can add to your chapter, that's what we'll say, Aga. But, yeah, both these guys have got a lot of respect for each other. It helps tremendously, and it makes it more enjoyable.
And the respect they're saying is not just for each other, but for their opponents as well, both of them highlighting Ollie Bolly's skills.
Yeah, I think we've seen some finals so far in this process where maybe one team has come in feeling like they're the favourites, feeling maybe not overconfident, but very assured in their ability to win. I don't think either team can feel that way going into here. Whilst the stats and the fact that obviously we're starting on PlayStation might work in Astralis' favour, as I've suggested, they have to respect their opposition. Østen mentioned there that both their opponents at Mkers, have won majors. But it's the same for the Astralis boys. Every single person here has won a major event. Østen has won this event, albeit in a slightly different format a few years ago for Brøndby. He's now with Astralis. He could be the first person to win this event twice. That's a massive opportunity for him.
Well, we've heard from Astralis. Let's hear from the Mkers.
Mkers have always been consistent in FIFAe Club. They always reach the playoffs, and also Principe has some trophies.
Il Mkers ha tante caratteristiche positive. Diciamo che la cosa che più ci contraddistingue è comunque la volontà, la perseveranza di provare a ottenere dei risultati, anche magari se a volte non ci riusciamo.
Principe is very consistently good. He always makes good games, and he's very clutch in the biggest moments and on the biggest stage.
No, Ollie Bolly credo che non abbia punti deboli, è un Iceman. Diciamo che ecco la cosa che lo contraddistingue, che nelle negli ultimi momenti, nel momento finale, riesce sempre a tirare fuori la giocata che lo fa vincere.
Our opponent is probably one of the best teams in Europe. Also, I played against Agi in some practice games lately, and yeah, he's very good, of course. And I also played against Ustun in the first qualifier final, so yeah, they are very good.
Gli Astralis sono fortissimi, tra l'altro Ustun ci ho già giocato diverse volte e mi ha sempre battuto. Cercherò di cambiare magari qualcosa per affrontarlo al meglio e cercare di dargli fastidio e di vincere almeno una partita.
I'm 100% sure that me and Principe will win it and bring the trophy back home to Mkers.
Great to hear Principe there saying that his teammate Oli Bolli has no weakness. Therefore, I guess the big question today is, how do you beat a player like Oli Bolli?
Well, it can be done, because as much as I respect Oli Bolli and he's doing fantastically well, and he hasn't lost a game in this tournament for a while, he hasn't won every game he's played this year. He's won one regional qualifier, but he's not qualified for every single one. So he can be beaten. My advice would be to find out how he was beaten in those games, research your matches and see what his weak spot is, but it will exist.
Well, it is time now to kick off our grand finals for Zone 4, Astralis v Mkers. It's over to our casters, Richard Buckley and Brandon Smith.
Thank you very much, Spencer and Layla. Here we go then, Zone 4 finals. It's the big one, Richard, the one that I think everybody has been excited about this weekend. Not just the money on the line, not just the players involved, but the chance to call yourself a champion in this region. No doubt the most stacked zone, where there were so many teams that took part across, weeks onto months of online qualifiers, conferences, playoffs, and now they finally got here, the two of the best. It'll be Mkers against Astralis. I'm looking forward to this one.
It's such a fascinating affair as well, because granted, yes, Principe does have to play more games in this series, but you saw in that interview, he's saying, I only need to win one game. He's got full confidence in Oli Bolli beating Aga on two separate matches. If Principe can get that win, it really does spice up this tie.
Well, here we go then. Zone 4. Grand final underway. $27,500 will be going to that winning team. A best of 5 needed to decide it. Kicking off on the PlayStation first. Houston against Principe. 2018 FIFA E-Club World Cup champion. No doubt the best ever FIFA E-Club World Cup final we ever saw. If you remember that one, back through the archives, Bromby against Team Envy. That man was 4-1 down going to the second. He won his leg 6-0.
Principe were brought in to get a little bit of revenge as well, because it was Houston's team in Bromby that knocked Mkers out of the competition in the semi-final.
As you said, Mr. Team Mkers over the weekend. Man that's been there since 2017, one of the longest serving players of this Team Mkers side. Looking to go 1-0 up early on into the game. Cristiano Ronaldo not able to find the link up there. In this one, of course, Astralis kicking from left to right. Here comes R9. End-to-end FIFA between these two. Houston times it green. A very ambitious effort. I mean, I think if you look across both these teams, yes, this is all about a club competition, about who's pulling their weight. On the PlayStation, on the Xbox, I think, no doubt about it, in this Mkers team, it's been all Oli Bolli. Yes, Principe's won games, he's drawn games, he was part of the team that got them out of the groups, got them through the qualifiers. When these two did match up in the groups, Houston won 4-1. That's a question whether that's going to be something that plays in the mind here. All into the box, Ronaldo's there, that's our first goal. In this grand final, 13 minutes on the clock. And as I said, Houston, he beat him in the group stages. He wants to continue that momentum in this grand final. 40 minutes in, there's your first goal.
Corner whipped in very quick into the danger area. Team of the year, CR7, leaping up above everybody else. Timed it green. And absolutely no hope for Principe's goalkeeper. That is Houston's run. You see, potentially trying to get a second there. There are his games, Houston, in this tournament. Win. Lost against AC Monza, beat Mkers, beat Riders, beat Mavericks, actually lost against Schalke in round 7, 3-1. Lost against Genoa eSports. Aga came through clutch there. And in semi-final number 2, he beat AC Monza, got his revenge, 3-2. So it's been a not perfect, but a very good run from Astralis Houston.
Yeah, I mean, Houston, he won 5 games, he lost 3 of them. For me, I look at Aga and I think he did the real ground digging in that. He drew a lot of his games when I think whether that was a game plan that went into them, I'll go and draw the game, you win on the flip side. For Principe, that's the run that he had. I mean, so many draws in that. 3 games he drew, 2 games he won. He lost 3 of them. Oli Bolli has had the pressure on his shoulders.
And you look at the bottom of the screen in the knockouts, the games that he was drawing, he went on to lose on penalties. Chance here for Team Makers. CR7 just getting tackled by Maldini at the back.
You have just tuned in. This is your Zone 4 Grand Final. Astralis against Makers. Not a football club in sight in this Zone Grand Final. 2 eSports organisations battling out. That's what this competition's all about, that mixture of football clubs, eSports organisations battling out to be the best across the whole world. And right now, Astralis running away with game 1. 27 minutes in. It was Cristiano Ronaldo with the first and it's R9 with the second.
Just as Spencer alluded to before this game kicked off, Houston dominating. You see Aggers sort of zoned in right there, watching the match. Houston relaxed, 25 minutes gone. 2-0 up against Principe. Sort of what we were expecting coming into this. When you looked at the form book, you looked at the results, Principe was going to struggle in these matches, has never beaten Houston in a competitive game. And you see the man that a lot of this pressure might be relying on his shoulders in Oli Bolli. He's going to be coming up in game 2 and 4.
I'll tell you one thing, Richard. Houston, I'm sure, is over the moon that he's not playing against Oli Bolli on the PS4. One thing that we'll talk about more when we go over to the Xbox is that Oli Bolli is a PlayStation 4 player. He's on the rankings on the PS4. He's a PlayStation winner. Moved over to the Xbox just for this competition to make Principe feel at home on that PlayStation. The fact he's delivered so well. He's going to have to go and do it again if this scoreline continues to sort of move in this same fashion and style. Astralis Houston up by 2 goals to 0. A bit of a rough ride in the knockouts as we saw. Did far to Houston. Team Astralis, 2018 FIFA E-Club World Cup champion. Partner with the 2014 FIFA Interactive World Cup champion. Whoa, I thought for a split second that could have been a penalty shout.
It's always been a question mark over Houston's defensive capabilities. We know he's incredible going forward. He scores goals for fun, but it's been in the game management and especially in the defensive areas where he's struggled in the past. Maybe why he's not won individual sort of tournaments in the past, a FUT Champions Cup or whether it be a regional qualifier, where he has lost it, Texing Singapore, where he's lost to Oli Bolli in previous tournaments. But it's been this year, FIFA 21 specifically, defensively, he's strengthened and he's gone really to the next level as a well-rounded FIFA player. And this right here, if you're a Team Makers fan, you're worried a little bit. He just came out of the back of a pause about 4 minutes ago. Into another pause right now is Principe. Scratching for ideas, the Italian.
And let's not forget that this, if it goes to the best of 5, in terms of it goes to all 5 games, Principe has to face this man 2 more times. So something has got to change. As we said, they matched in the group. Principe lost 4 goals to 1. We're near half-time, where, at the moment, it has been all Houston looking for a 4th. Mbappe. How wide an acres of space. Can he get the ball across into the box? Slightly too much there. I mean, exactly what you said as well, leading on from that, Richard. A player that we always question him defensively. Came out the blocks flying on FIFA 21. Made it to FCT1, if you want to call it that, the European qualifier #1 in the Global Series. Played against Oli Bolli, funny enough. Did lose to him, but still making the top 2 on the PlayStation. Out of 1,000+ players, showed how good he started this year and how good he is at this game. Principe. Knocking on the door of Houston. Yet to really register a proper chance, in all honesty. Made it difficult. Set them in partnership that we've seen all weekend long from across all our 6 zones. Hullet and Bruno Fernandes.
Just not really got any final product at the minute, has Principe in the final third. Coming in at half-time, 2-0 down is Principe, and you're asking questions. if you are at a Team Makers fan on what can potentially be done.
Yeah.
Because it's a one-legged game of FIFA. We've got to remember that. No disrespect to Principe at all. At all.
Just going off facts. We are just going off facts.
The way that the matches have lined up with the triple header potentially of Houston against Principe, I even think Principe might even be in his own head a little bit when in that preview before the game he said, I've never beaten Houston. Just things like that where you're thinking, can I beat Houston? Can I beat the streak?
And I mean, it's one thing that we asked many teams about across what the 4 zone finals already seen. Players that did not beat them in the group stages or in the knockouts. In a final, it can go anywhere. It's a grand final. You have to put it to your back of your mind. Principe needs to start this second half strong. And in the form of the goal, at least, just to restore a bit of hope within himself and in his team. He concedes a third. We're going over to the Xbox with a 1-goal advantage. Astralis, there's the cutback. Surely back to Ronaldo. Brilliant block. Pele with an awful touch there. You're thinking that's going to be a guaranteed goal.
Potentially something to build on right there for Principe. A block on the line. Get the confidence going. Just getting bullied off the ball in midfield.
Every single time Houston goes forward, it looks like he's going to score. Pele, this time, heel to heel, teasing that back line. Mbappe to Ronaldo. That's absolutely brilliant.
Just simply too good in the final third is Houston right now. Principe asking questions. You saw the work down the byline. Cuts it back into number 11. He squares it across to Cristiano Ronaldo.
It's like he's not even impressed with that, Houston. At the moment, it's all going to plan. 3-0 down. Not the start that this team makers would have wanted at all. It was a best of 5. Astralis win that. They'll have a point next to their name. Need 3 of them to be crowned the champions here in Zone 4.
If you're Oli Bolly right now, you're looking at this result, you're thinking, my teammates just lost 3-0. Almost puts more pressure on yourself to go and perform. Because you're not confident that your teammate in that third game is going to be able to get a win. If Aga beats Oli Bolly in that second game, you may as well give the trophy to Astralis.
It's Houston again, looking for goal number 4. Will it come now? R9. Is there a cutback into Ruud Gullit? Well defended by Bruno Fernandes.
It's not necessarily the scoreline, but it's the performance. Principe's not shown me a lot to suggest that he might beat Houston a second game around, a third game around. They could play 5 games. And he's not shown me anything, especially in the final third, that suggests he might beat him. Obviously, it could be a formation, it could be a tactical change in the third game, if he has to win.
And this is a player that, on the flip side for Houston, we often question his defensive capability. He's had nothing to deal with, in all honesty. It's the only chance he may have had to deal with. Able to control that pretty well. An interesting fact about zone number 4 is that the 2 teams that made it through and the 4 teams that made it to the semi-finals all came from Group 1. All the teams in Group 2 all fell in the quarter-final stages. Group 1 continuing to prove why they were so good. Astralis lead by 3 goals to 0 in the first game here on the PlayStation. Definitely a game that sort of looked like it could have been happening this way. You look at the previous results, it has been Oli Bolly that's been playing some brilliant FIFA.
Coming out of the back of this game as well, and one man who's going to be motivated is August Rosemeyer. My teammate has just gone and done the business for me, and he has been good in this Club World Cup format, because when Houston has faltered, Aga has been there to pick up the pieces.
He has Aga is a PlayStation player again, moved over to the Xbox. I don't know whether in the group stages there's been a game plan between these two, because Aga's first game in the groups, 0-0 draw. Second game, 1-1 draw. Fourth game, 1-1 draw. Is it I go and draw the games and then we get a point there and then Houston goes and wins? I don't know. It's just seemed like when Aga's had to carve out a result, he's just done it.
Don't lose. I think that's been the main thing for him.
He did lose one game though, Aga, and it was to Oli Bolly. 4 goals to 2. Other than that, he's remained unbeaten. His team Mkers, the best chance they've had so far. Brilliant save. Still that one is alive. Brilliant directional nutmeg, wins a corner. But 3 goals in 12 minutes, just too little, too late.
Glanced over the crossbar there, Principe. Houston, I love watching the face cams because he just don't even look like he's playing in a competitive final, does it? He's so relaxed.
As I said, I was watching about the 2018 FIFAe Club World Cup final earlier today. When he won that game 6-0, when he won it, didn't even look happy. Just thought it was all business for him.
Business is resumed.
Of course, that was for Bromby back then. Chance, goal number 4. Why not? Wow, what a first leg this has been from Astralis. And he still doesn't look happy with it. He knows it's not job done. It's a long old road, this best of 5. But that is the best of starts for Team Astralis.
Incredible start to this Zone 4. FIFAe Club World Cup regional title potentially swinging towards Astralis right now. They're going to be 1-0 up after arguably the most convincing performance we've seen from any of the competitors, you would say.
Especially in a knockout game. It's a single leg FIFA, Rich. 4-0. Scoring 4 goals in one game of FIFA. Sometimes you don't even get that over 2 legs. Well, he's minutes away from getting that first point on the board. Here in Zone 4. We jump back to the Xbox next, where it'll be Oli Bolly against August Rosemeyer. What a game that one plans to be. And if Aggie was to go and play the best FIFA he's played throughout this E-Club World Cup process, he would be, I'm sure, sort of filling this team full of confidence going into that third game. Houston goes and gets it done, gets another result for a third time in the tournament. Astralis will be your Zone 4 winners. Added time of 1 minute's been played. Get the ball out of play. That will be the first point on the board. Job done in the first game.
What a performance from Houston right there. You see the live shots. He's one happy man. 1 point on the board, and a big point on the board for Team Astralis. Incredible performance. 4-0. I mean, you said it, you don't even see 4 goals typically over 2 legs of FIFA. Never mind in one singular 90-minute match. Truly, if that's the way that this game's going to go, I don't see how Mkers can win it. I don't see a lot of avenues and a lot of sort of potential outcomes in which Mkers lift this trophy, because Principe has to get a result against Houston. And on the back of that performance, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, you can see in front of us right now the story of this best of 5 so far. We've only seen 1 game at this moment in time. Astralis up with a point next to their name. A very convincing 4-0. The fact that he didn't concede as well, surely is going to fill Houston with huge confidence. They played in the group stage, as we alluded to. It was a 4-1 victory for Houston there. They play in the first game in this best of 5, and it's a 4-0 result to Houston. The man that has won this competition back in 2018 wants to add another one onto his winning list.
We've been talking a lot about this Astralis team, saying Houston may be the player that's getting more results, but Aga has been very good as well in this Club World Cup format, and I think he's also got a little bit of a point to prove, whether it's to us, to analysts, to the punters out there watching, to say, you know what, I am a former World Cup champion, I'm a former multiple-time European champion, I can go and do this, and if he gets a result against Oli Bolly, you may as well just sign it off now. Give him the check.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an incredible story. $27,500, whoever comes out and wins this one. But that is game 1 concluded from the commentary desk. We're going to pass it back over to Spencer to break down some of the action from that first game.
Cheers, guys. Yes, I want to look at the third goal scored by Astralis Houston there, which on paper, and when you look at it at first glance, pretty standard goal, very well worked and very well earned. but I want to break it down to a degree where you can see why this goal happens. Why do these players consecutively or consistently find space in the box? And a lot of it's to do with AI movement as well. So let's take a look. You can see Pele's on the ball here. We're just going to pause it here, right? Now, Pele's on the ball. Okay, he has 2 teammates in the box there, but more importantly, I want you to watch this man here at the back post. Now, the man I just highlighted at the back post, Mbappe, he's going to end up actually playing the pass that scores the goal. But if we look at the defensive situation, we'll go red because they're in red. We've got 2 centre-backs here right on top of each other. Just those 2 there. And we've got this man here. Now, this man is going to try and track Mbappe's run, or at least he has to a degree, started to, because he's come from that side of the pitch, the right side of the pitch, right? Mbappe's going to make his way into the box. And what's going to happen is the movement of Cristiano Ronaldo in the box is going to move back this way. He's going to mess up the entire plan for the 2 centre-backs. And you'll see where, in many ways, you could argue Principe was almost powerless to stop this goal because his defenders were tracking space zonally rather than men, right? As I play it a bit more, you'll see what I'm saying. So watch Mbappe come into the box and watch Cristiano Ronaldo just take 10 yards back away from the goal, which is all about, you know, finding space in the box. Is something we attribute great strikers with, being in the right place at the right time, Fox in the box and all that. The 2 centre-backs are going to get confused. Mbappe, who's going to come in, they're going to try and take him because this man here is going to stop doing his job. He's not going to follow. He's not going to come in, and that's going to leave an overload. He didn't finish the job of marking. If this happened to me in my football team and my left midfielder or left back wasn't tracking back, I'd be furious. It's unacceptable. Watch. Keep going, keep going. Now he stops. You see he stops there? He is no longer defending against anyone. And Mbappe is coming in here. One of these centre-backs is going to have to pick him up, and Ronaldo's going to step back here and can be absolutely free. Ruud Gullit's going to do a last-minute attempt here to try and stop him, but it's too late. It's not his job. It's not Ruud Gullit's job to mark the striker, Cristiano Ronaldo. Watch what happens. He just peels off any second now. This pass into Mbappe. He's already peeled back, and there's the goal. And it's impossible to defend if your guys don't track your men. So it's infuriating when it happens in traditional football, but it's just annoying when it happens on FIFA. So that was the 3rd goal. Obviously, he scored a 4th, didn't he, after that? And so far, Layla, you have to say it's going exactly the way that we thought it would.
That's exactly what I was going to ask as well. Could it have gone any more perfectly to plan for him?
For Uston, no. And Uston's been consistent in his ability to win these games. And unfortunately, Principe has struggled. As he mentioned himself, he's never beaten Uston. And as Richard, I think, said as well, I don't see from that game how he's going to beat him. Something's going to have to change dramatically.
A dominant performance by him. He's going to be feeling confident now as well.
Yeah, and Uston gets that extra game, right? Because he went up first. If it goes to the 5th, which is another prediction I should put out there, by the way, this will go to the 5th. This will go to the 5th, and they'll win it in the 5th.
And why?
Because I think that Uston's going to win all his games, and I think Ollie Bolly's going to win all his games.
Yeah.
Simple as that, really. Don't actually need to do the rest. Should we go home?
Yeah, we've done it. Just convinced. I mean, it is going exactly as you mentioned, and you think the platform is the big decider here?
Yeah, first of all, it's really interesting because Ollie Bolly switched console for this tournament, which a lot of people have had to, you know, because you want to get a balanced team, and sometimes you've got 2 great players at a club, but they play on the same console. You don't want to not play with one of them, so you just switch them over. I mean, in Mkers' case, they've also got Ethan, who we saw get to the final of this competition this time last year when he was playing for 11, Gareth Bale's team. He's now joined Mkers, giving them an unbelievable stable of players, but obviously he didn't get the pick for this one. Yeah, and Ollie Bolly's moved over to Xbox, which means he plays against Aga. Aga was traditionally a PlayStation player until recently as well, so there's a lot of movement here and there. But yeah, Ollie Bolly, I think if this round of games was the 3 matches on Xbox, I think Ollie Bolly wins it, and I think that Mkers take it home. But it's the luck of the draw.
Principe must be feeling fairly frustrated, and now it's all over to Ollie Bolly. Yeah,
Ollie Bolly has to win, quite frankly, because we see what happens in these Principe-Uston matchups. If this game goes to Aga here, which is not impossible, Aga's been playing really good stuff as well, and Ollie Bolly did need extra time and penalties a few times to get through his games. If Aga gets it here, it's done and dusted as far as I'm concerned.
OK, well, let's find out what happens in our second leg. It's back over to our casters.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, here we go then. Game number 2 in this one. I mean, touching upon what Spencer said, though, I can honestly see that happening as well. I mean, if it's a case of Ollie Bolly cruises his Xbox games and Uston wins all his PlayStation games, that'll be a long road in this best of 5. That would mean that Astralis would come out on top of a 3-2 win at the end. But I think Aga has had some unbelievable results. I'm just looking back again now. I think he's got 4 draws, 4 wins, and he's only lost the game. The game he lost to was Oli Bolly, though. That's the important part of that stat. On the flip side, Oli Bolly, even if he went to penalties for some of his games, has not dropped a match.
And also, something you have to consider, Brandon, one leg of FIFA. Extra time and penalties is very much a viable scenario in which this could happen. You see Aga's results on your screen. You just talked about them there. The one loss coming to Team Mkers, that would have been Oli Bolly. A couple of draws in there as well, a 1-1 a couple of times. He saw a 2-2. But then in the knockouts, he's been very good. Genoa eSports, 3-2 win. He beat Genoa eSports in the deciding match 1-0. So the 2 games that he needed to win, he won. And then against AC Monza, he won 2-1 as well. Aga has been flawless in the knockouts.
He has, and I mean, as you said, they did it in 2 in the semi-finals against that AC Monza team of Italy. Or 2 Italian football clubs, you could say, in the quarters, in the semi-finals. And when he's needed to play good FIFA, he has done exactly that. In this game, Astralis kicking from left to right in the white. Team Mkers with Oli Bolly, who need to win this game from right to left. We spoke about Oli Bolly. You cannot see a single L next to any of those results. It took him 6 rounds in the groups to then finally draw a game. And then in the knockouts, as you can see, penalties, penalties, penalties everywhere. And there's another goal for Oli Bolly. 9 minutes in, a reaction is needed into this Team Mkers camp, and it's come in the form of Oli Bolly by Cristiano Ronaldo.
Just the way that the script really sort of is going right now. Oli Bolly 1-0 up against Aga. You see the man who Team Mkers Club World Cup trophy desires rests on his shoulders. He's 1-0 up, and just on that sort of form graphic there on the left-hand side of the screen, it wasn't plain sailing though. A couple of those games, I think 3 matches went to extra time and or penalties. So it has been a rough ride for him in the knockouts, but he's still been getting over the line in the dub column.
Well, Oli Bolly's already broken the hearts of Astralis back in December. Qualified #1 in the FIFA 21 Global Series. The PlayStation final, it was Oli Bolly against Astralis' very own Houston. He did win that game, Oli Bolly. First outing as a Team Mkers player. First trophy for the club as well. Lovely scoop turn from R9! August Rosemeyer!
Instant reply from Aga. That is a man zoned in to do Astralis proud right there. Great scoop turn from R9 and then rocketed off that right boot into the top left corner. We've got our game in our hands. Aga will not go quietly.
I mean, only 6 minutes after that goal, Richard, an instant reply down the other end from the 2014 FIWC champion. He's one of the only players in this competition that actually played in the first ever FIFA E-Club World Cup back in 2017 for PSG at the time. Got himself a top 5 finish there. That was when it was sort of a single sort of team format. There's only 1 player per team that did play in the E-Club World Cup. This man knows this tournament. He said in this interview, how good would it be to say I've won 2 FIFA majors? He's won so many tournaments. The fact he's always stayed in the conversation, he's always stayed sort of relevant in FIFA eSports, which can be so difficult to do year after year as the game changes.
Especially after a few people online and sort of other FIFA players, maybe we're saying he's past it, maybe we're saying he's a little bit past the curve, is August Rosemeyer. For him to come back and win with Team Astralis, and if he was to beat Oli Bolly right now, he would silence all those critics, all those haters out there.
As we said in the preview, there's only 1 stat and 1 loss next to his name for Aga in this tournament. That was against this man on your screen in Oli Bolly. Aga now looking for a second of Trent Alexander-Arnold all the way from fullback. Will look to play for the free kick. He wins that. Looking probably to cross that into the box and get R9 or Cristiano Ronaldo. There's Ronaldo going to loop towards the back post, you'd like to think. Ronaldo is at the back post. It's headed back out for a corner. One thing you know about Oli Bolly, he loves the penalty shootout. Cristiano Ronaldo!
Genius. Genius from Aga right there. He had the corner on, the taker. He switched it so quickly that Oli Bolly wasn't able to move his goalkeeper out quick enough to come and collect the ball with the right stick. instantly took the corner, whipped straight into CR7, who headers it past the goalkeeper.
Completely turned the game around. You saw it a couple of times, just teased on that free kick minutes before the corner of how he was looking just to sort of get Cristiano Ronaldo on the ball, look to manually control him. He really has a leap like no other in the box. Astralis up by 2-1 in this game after being 1-0 down in 9 minutes. Strap yourselves in. This is only leg number 2 in zone 4. Astralis, as you can see, with a point next to their name already. They won game number 1 on the PlayStation. Houston won 4-0 against Principe. Oli Bolli ranked 3rd currently in the world in Europe. I should say in Europe, sorry. Swede has had a brilliant start to the year, and in the last 12 months he's been doing some brilliant stuff. Won the Allsvenskan out in Sweden last year. Alongside that, a top 3 finish in the Summer Series Cup.
He's also won a lot of online tournaments as well, whether it be sort of independent, whether it be the Tuesday Night Football Foothead, which was a real sort of competitive level. He's been grinding for the last 12 months, when a lot of other people maybe have slacked off a little bit. He's been on it, has Oli Bolli, and his results have mimicked that grind.
Yeah, and they've earned him a move to Team Makers as well. Team Makers, they did some serious business in the summer. August Rosemeyer could be on for a 3rd, got to stay composed, and that's exactly what he's going to do. A simple ball roll to slide that one past the goalkeeper. Agger with a 2-goal cushion now in this game.
Incredible through ball down the line, finding CR7. As soon as he's in 1-on-1, you ask, does he have the minerals to finish? Ball roll past the goalkeeper and smashed into that near post.
In all honesty, you look at what Agger's been up to this year in terms of trying to grind out qualifiers and to run well in tournaments. He's honestly struggled in a lot of them. Sits in 200 and something position, I believe, at the moment on the rankings. This is the one tournament that he has been successful in and grinding away. They beat Duck's game in the duo of Adriban. I believe Gravison, the 2 Spaniards who were doing so well. They were, cruising in this competition. They both beat them in terms of the individual performances of Houston.
He's in again.
And Agger to qualify for the group stages. He was looking for another goal. Might come in the form. Well, Bruno Fernandes, I think he's just offside. What a brilliant first 45 minutes this has been.
When Oli Bolli went 1-0 up, I can't lie, we looked at each other and we sort of nodded and we're like, yep, this is what we expected. August Rosemeyer, since going 1-0 down, has been incredible.
He's had 3 chances and scored 3 goals. He's been clinical.
He's also defended, though, as well. He's not allowed Oli Bolli in.
Last chance of the half. We've had a minute. By the time already played. Can he find R9 in the box for Oli Bolli? Defended well again. Last chance. What a win this in the air. Ronaldo is there. That restores some hope for Oli Bolli.
A shake of the head from Oli Bolli. That corner whips into the box. CR7 wins it. The goalkeeper came a little bit but didn't fully commit. 3-2 at half-time. What a first 45 minutes.
I mean, we thought we were lucky to see 4 goals in a single leg. We just seen 5 in 45 minutes. Oli Bolli currently down by 3-2, but that goal would have done something for him, Richard, just before half-time with Ronaldo to restore a bit of hope. As we said, the facts we have to go off between these two is they played in the group. They were both in the same group, in group number 1. When they played, it was a 4-2 win for Oli Bolli. He's a player that has not lost a game. Even if he has to go to penalties, Richard, he still wins those big matches at the big moments.
He's not lost a game, but everyone's O has to go at some point. And how fitting would it be that you lose your first game and it's in the game that you have to win? You must win this game if you are Team Makers. Back underway inside the second half. 3-2 down.
For 45 minutes of action here in your Zone 4. Grand final, Zone 4, of course, replicating Europe. Still got North America to be concluded later on this evening. What a final that plans to be. New York City FC against Team Complexity. The 2020 FIFA E-Club World Cup champions back in the pot again and looking for another title win in this competition. Back underway, or nearly. A very impressive strike on goal there from Cristiano Ronaldo if he was to squeeze that in past Edwin van der Sar.
Snapshot past sort of the last man. It was on his left foot, so I think the chance of that going in quite slim. On his right foot, maybe would have forced a save where the goalkeeper would spill it. Aga coming up the other end, ball scoop turn out wide. Maldini does well to win it back.
The only thing I look at in a game like this, Richard, I mean, it's different now. There's only a 1-goal difference between the two, but Aggie drew 4 games in the groups. It's like when he's needed to grind out a result, a 0-0 or 1-1 to set up for his teammate. Of course, in the groups it was different. It was a case of you pick up points in your individual matches. They relied heavily on Houston to sort of pull them through that group in terms of winning most of the games. Yes, he's got his hands full here with Oli Bolli. Has he got that sort of grit, determination to hold out a 1-0 result? He's got 33 minutes of pressure.
I think there'll be more goals, in all honesty. The best form of defence right now for August Rosemeyer is attack. Try and get a second goal advantage. Try and get a third and kill the game off. Don't allow Oli Bolli to build back into this tie.
30 minutes left. Astralis win. They'll be 1 win away from being crowned champions in Zone 4. We'll go back to the PlayStation, whatever happens here. If Team Makers win or Astralis win, we'll still go back to that 3rd game. It's just, will it be a decider? That's the all-important question. Ramos, interestingly, gets a start for Aga in this game. He's always been a fan. Defender of Real Madrid. Lovely ball, lovely idea there from the air into Bruno Fernandes. Interestingly as well, he plays that midfield 3 of the era, Bruno Fernandes and Hullet. Most players just looking to go for the 2 midfielders.
It looks like the 5-back from Aga.
Hence why probably Ramos is also involved. Yeah. Team of the year, Sergio Ramos involved. He's R9, Oli Bolli. Looking to bear down on goal. Brilliant interception from the man we were just talking about. Another 10 minutes pretty much gone here, Richard. That's a brilliant ball into Alphonso Davies. If he can do well to get round the man. Oh, get round the corner. That was a pass that R9 nearly got a touch on. "20 minutes left. Team Makers desperate for a win here. This would be Oli Bolli's first loss across the groups and the knockout stages in the FIFA Club World Cup.
It's a very good interception right there. Bruno stepping out, winning the ball back for Team Astralis. It's finding it quite hard to play through this white wall.
Actually break down the 5 at the back.
Got to go quick. You've got to go central, I think, as well. In between the gaps, in between the left centre-back and the left wing-back, in between the right centre-back and the right wing-back, in those channels, in those sort of lanes. That's where you can get at him.
Could this be one of those moments now? Can he find that acute pass? No, he can't. He tried to angle it into the feet of Pella. Look at the chance to break away. It was Bruno Fernandes that teased her up. Ronaldo tried to turn and play the pass. It was defended well by Hullet. Pretty much another 10 minutes played here. It's 13, just under that, left in this game. We said it at half-time. Aga, could he just have that determination to grind out this result? 5 at the back, sitting back, taking the pressure. He's 12 minutes away.
If Maldini didn't intercept that pass right there, that's another goal. It was a goal-saving interception because Oli Bolli was pressed so high up the pitch. If that ball would have gone through, you've got to think game, set and match. Just looking at the live shots here of the players. Aga still in that 5-3-2. Pele being introduced for him. That's the only change that he's made. Maldini, Carlos Alberto Prime and Team of the Year Ramos as the 3 centre-backs, with Trenton Davies at wing-back. Imagine fresh legs in the final third for Team Makers. Ronaldinho.
Sabio as well. I mean, people that have got just incredible in-game stats. A 5-star week for Oli Bolli. 12 minutes to try and find a gap, a pocket of space between that 5-back that Aga's going to set up and be very hard to beat and break down. If he gets one more goal, Astralis are on a 2-0 advantage in games in this best of 5. Could this be the goal? Fernandez on Fernandez. It's Oli Bolli's Bruno Fernandez that comes out on top. He'll drive forward. As you can see, all those white shirts will slowly but surely get within Astralis' own half. Disrupts the back line well.
Unbelievable interception again. Some of that last-ditch tackling from August Rosemeyer has been so clutch. In the one-on-ones, in the interceptions.
That's why he wants every pass to count here. It's been a long old process, weeks and months of qualifiers and conferences. I think Oli Bolli even said in his interview he's played against August Rosemeyer in some friendly games. This is his to throw away now, in all honesty. August wants one more goal. Does he need to go forward? Wins a corner. 2.5 minutes plus added time. This would be Oli Bolli's first loss in the finals of the FIFA Club World Cup across the 42 teams that made a hit earlier this week.
Just having a look at what Oli Bolli is doing right now. You see the live shots of the two players. Very aggressive in the custom tactics. This is Aga's POV. Bringing on Saka potentially. No, he's gone for Theo Hernandez at left wing back. On the other side of it, a 4-3-1-2 for Oli Bolli. Zidane being brought on. And now it is Saka at left wing back.
It's a big Arsenal fan.
Saka, yeah.
A big Arsenal fan, August Rosemeyer. Playing him out on the left-hand side, Saka. Is he sure in it? I don't think he is. No,
Get Hernandez back on.
Theo Hernandez comes back on instead. Zidane also to freshen up that midfield. As you said, Pele, the last man in that team. 2.5 minutes away. As you said, making it the first defeat in the tournament for Oli Bolli. And it'll be in Ooston's hands as it was back in 2018 out in Paris. So go and get the job done to become FIFA Club World Cup champions. This is Oli Bolli's final throw of the dice.
Is he in?
Could be through. Look at the numbers he's got forward. Surely not. This would be remarkable. Patrick Vieira, that's why he's there. Get the ball clear. Astralis have just pulled off an absolute miracle. August Rosemeyer brings Oli Bolli's unbeaten streak to an end. It was the game that we were questioning. Oli Bolli has been the star of this Team Makers team in terms of those big match moments, the penalty shootouts, the knockout football. August Rosemeyer, wow.
Out of all the games that Oli Bolli has played in this Club World Cup, that was the one he had to win. For me, right now, you may as well make that screen 3-0. Because I do not see a world in which Principe beats Ooston.
The fact is as simple as that. He's never beaten him outside of this tournament in any sort of competition they've ever played him before. Don't get me wrong, one of the most capped players in the E-Club World Cup, Principe of his team and Team Makers. Third time they've been in this tournament. They've been to a semi-final before in 2018. The furthest they've technically been in a grand final this time round. They have to win.
You mentioned the word miracle. That's what Principe needs right now if he's going to beat Ooston. That wasn't a miracle by Aga. Aga played better. Aga was 3-1 up. Oli Bolli didn't have a plethora of goal-scoring opportunities. Aga defended really well. He set out in that 5-3-2 and didn't allow Oli Bolli to play. Didn't allow him to take control of that game. As soon as Aga went in front, he defended impeccably well. Principe needs a miracle because he showed me absolutely nothing to beat Ooston.
Well, I mean, the facts are this simple. Ooston against Principe in the groups, 4-1 win. First game in this grand final, 4-0 win.
Yep.
I mean, as you said, the facts are going against Team Makers and Principe right now. That is just how it looks, in all honesty. But we saw Aga go and beat Oli Bolli for the first ever time. Can we go and see it on the flip side for Principe? It's not that Principe's not a good player. There's a reason why he's in this grand final. There's a reason why he's played for Team Makers for so many years. He's just got to attack. He's got to create chances. He didn't really have any single shot or goal in that first game.
If he goes 1-0 down, I think it's over. You can't expect him to come back. I think the best way that you play against Ooston right now is just to sit, consolidate, and maybe play for extra time and penalties. But look, it's going as we sort of predicted it to go a little bit, with Astralis taking the W, potentially done in one more game. Let's head back over to Layla and Spencer to break down game 2.
We did ask earlier on in the show, how do you beat a player like Oli Bolli? And I believe our question may have been answered. Don't give him any space to score.
I've got to take my hat off to Aggie. I don't have a hat on. And if I did, it would be off. Because Aggie has had a blinder there.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, and I said earlier, you're not going to find a bigger Agger fan than me. You're not, but I didn't think he'd do it. And that's just because Ollie Bolly, the level he's been playing. And Aggie even said himself in his interview, in his video, he said that he thinks Ollie Bolly is one of the best players in the world right now. Aggie, you've got to give yourself the credit where it's due. You're up there yourself, son. You've just made yourself back in the conversation. People have been sleeping on Aggie Rosemeyer for far too long. He is back, ladies and gentlemen.
He's back, and let's take a look at how he did it. Let's take a look at the goals here.
Yeah, so obviously, as the guys mentioned in casting, when Ollie Bolly took the lead, it looked like business as usual, exactly what we could expect. The guy's not lost in group stage or knockout football in this tournament, but Aggie had an answer. Lovely little turn there. I'd be a bit annoyed if I was Ollie Bolly about that goal, because one centre-back was dropping pretty deep and playing Ronaldo onside. But that's, you don't want to concede those goals, trust me, from the corners. It's very frustrating, but Aggie's got the reward for trying it at least. And the little ball roll there, 1-on-1 with the keeper, they go in if you remain composed, which Aggie did. And look at the surprise. Even Uston's surprised that his own teammate is winning, because it's the nature of Ollie Bolly's level. Ollie Bolly gets a header from a corner back himself there, but it was too little too late for the Swede. And there's a moment of relief there for the Dane, Aggie Rosemeyer. But that's a massive win for him. I'm really happy for him.
Big win. Another person I'd love to ask a little bit about to this is our Zone 4 reporter, Matteo, I believe, is back on the line. Matteo, we spoke to you earlier. How are your emotions now?
We have seen two unbelievable games. Houston domination against Principe, but also Aggie defeated the king, Ollie Bolly, who was undefeated. So really astonishing performances by Team Astralis. And now the situation is really tough for Team Mkers.
It is, mate. It is really tough. Matteo, I've got to ask you, do you think Principe can do it? Because he needs to win this game or else it's over. Can he turn over that 4-0 deficit?
Principe for sure has been not so good right now, but he is a champion. He knows it, and he really needs to step up. And if you remember, Spencer, his last nickname was Ice Principe. So during these difficult times, he also is an Iceman. So maybe in this difficult situation, he will be back and he will remember how strong he is.
Matteo, talking about Agger specifically, having the right amount of respect for his opponent, because he went into this really bigging up Ollie Bolly, but then also the right amount of composure and desire to attack throughout that game seemed to be the perfect balance for him. Yeah,
sure. Aggie played like a champion, like he is. Such an experienced and talented player. Of course, he has a lot of respect for Ollie Bolly, who's a rising star there in the north, and especially for FIFA eSports. He showed that he also styled his opponents because he suffered a lot against through balls, and I think that through balls were the key for Aggie's win.
Well, thank you very, very much, Matteo. It may look like it's semi-wrapped up, but we've still got one more game to go. It's back over to our casters, where anything could happen.
Yeah, this is the big one now, isn't it? I mean, fantastic words there from Matteo, a man that used to play for Team Mkers. He knows that Team Mkers team inside and out, and more importantly, the Italian FIFA scene. Principe right now, as you said, we said needs a miracle. He's not beaten Houston in FIFA competitive esports for ever since he's been involved, in all honesty. But one thing we know about this man is that, as Matteo said, previously was called the Iceman for these big match moments. We need to see that now. Yeah,
we need to see that moment and that big game from Principe, because if Houston goes 1-0 up, I think you can write it off. You can see the scores from our best of 5 so far here in Zone 4. Astralis 2-0 up against Team Mkers. Houston with a 4-0 win. Yep, 4-0 over one leg against Principe and Agger. An unbelievable performance and a great display of how to see out a game as well. When that pressure is building on you, how to win. One of the most winningest players in FIFA history is August Rosemeyer, and he's looking to add another trophy to his collection. 3-2 victory against Ollie Bolly.
I think you were right in terms of what you were saying about these teams. Look at the crossing. Every single player in those teams has won something. Won a major, won something big. They're made up of these big match moments. As Matteo was saying, you know, August Rosemeyer may have had those ups and downs, but he's a 2014 world champion, still in the conversation, still playing top FIFA now, many years on from that. On the flip side, this man on your screen is a 2018 E-Club World Cup champion in Houston. Could he be the only player to be a 2-time winner in this competition. Will be team makers kicking from left to right that have to win this game. If Astralis win, it'll be the only 3-0 we've seen in a best-of-5 across the 5 zone finals we've seen so far. All over the world, these competitions have been played out. We've seen games go to a 5th game. We've seen all the other games go to a game number 4.
Not seen a whitewash yet. Potentially this could be the first one if Houston is victorious. Principe must win this game to keep team makers alive here in Zone 4.
You said it perfectly best. Whoever scores the first goal really can be in the driving seat. That wasn't the case in the last game. Ollie Bolly went 1-0 up after 9 minutes by half-time. It was an incredible 3 goals to 2. If you missed that, Aga won match number 2. The facts are simple. These two have played 2 times in this competition. It was a 4-1 win in the group stages for Houston, and it was a 4-0 win in the first game of this best-of-5. One thing that we have to simply see is just more going forward from Principe. Could this be one of those chances now with Pele? Got Ronaldo in support. Also, Mbappe in the box. A couple of heavy touches. Wins himself a corner.
One thing that we have to see from Houston is... Ooh, just past the post. One thing we have to see from Houston is the level that he's been playing at not decrease. Just because he's in this winning position, he has to keep that same sort of attainment level that he's been having, and the success rate that he's had, that cannot dip just because he's in a comfortable position now.
Could this be the chance to get Astralis underway? Ball roll, oh no, brilliant block from Virgil van Dijk. I don't think the goalkeeper was going to be anywhere near that. Ball quickly taken into the box, it's headed down towards the back post. Ronaldo and Mbappe in a running race. Mbappe comes out on top. You're absolutely right, because they're in such a comfortable position at the moment, Astralis. We saw that yesterday in the Oceania finals. Dire Wolves 2-0 up. Nearly threw away the last 2 games. They lost one, then they finally replied again via Dylan. They can lose 2 times if they need to, Astralis, and then go and do it in the 5th game. Of course, they do not want to do that. They want to get it done in 3. Mkers Principe, one of the longest serving players for any team. Brilliant touch, brilliant start! A must-win game for team Mkers. And Principe keeping his calm in the final third with Cristiano Ronaldo to get him underway with a huge goal.
Said we had to see the ice coming out from Principe. 1-0 up, team Mkers. Still a lot of FIFA left to be played. But this is what we needed. We needed a better performance. We needed a better Principe. And that is what we're getting right now.
And it's never beaten Houston. As we did so. A player that knows this competition inside and out. It's the 3rd time he's played in it. May not have had the best run back in Milan last year. A top 16 finish for him and Matteo, who we did just see on the screen about 5 minutes ago or so. This time of a new teammate in Ollie Bolly. A grand final is the furthest they've ever been to. Can they turn it all around? They're currently 2-0 down in the best-of-5. A must-win game this is. Ronaldo. Getting Principe underway. A second goal will be very much welcome. Tries to turn his man. Dini wins it back well. And then chance to break forward. Poor pass for Houston. It's moments like that. Will be better.
They've not done anything the easy way in this competition, have team Mkers. 5 out of 6 games in the knockouts were penalty shootouts as well. From the quarterfinals and semi-finals, they've not cruised through any game.
One thing that we know about them is they did finish 3rd in the group. It was only the top 4 teams that made it through Group 1. It was, of course, Astralis in 2nd.
Past him.
Them in 3rd. Chance to score a 2nd, potentially so for Principe. Lovely scoop turn. Back to Ronaldo. Tries to heel his way past Virgil van Dijk.
More confidence, though, from Principe than what we saw in that entire first game. Great ball down the line. Mbappe could be in.
Could be in trouble. R9's in the box for Houston. Can he find the comeback? Oh, it's a brilliant idea. Ronaldo just couldn't arc and sort of curve his run in the direction towards that back post for one of the easiest tap-ins he would have scored all day.
Look at that space.
Look at the time. It's in a running race, Ronaldo. He's got to blow that to Pele, surely. Times it, slows it down, and chance wasted.
What an opportunity for Principe. Goes out for a corner, whipped into the front post. Ronaldo wins it. Huge save.
Huge. Sort of left ball there from the goalkeeper. Again, Ronaldo's in there. It's Hullet that wins it in the end. Principe piling on the pressure. Brilliant touch. Another shot comes and another block.
Offside.
He's offside in the end, Ronaldo. But that ball had to be played to Pele.
I think he was in front of his man. Maldini was tracking across. But Pele looked about 2 yards in front of the Italian. Went for the shot on his own. Got a corner out of it.
Offside. Yeah. A nod of approval for Principe there. 40 minutes into the game. Everything that Houston's thrown at him, he's dealing with it. On the flip side, he's also been able to attack. Just like this, Mbappe running rampant at this defence of Houston. The combinations have been on point. The scoop turns, the ball rolls. Here's another prime example of it. Pele just offside again. We're a minute away from half-time. This is the type of Principe that we remember and that we've needed to see. Team makers want to turn things around in this best of 5. Last chance of the game. In this first 45, I should say. Pele. For Houston, does well. Still Pele. Lovely directional nutmeg. There's the cutback! And there's the equaliser. Principe will be thinking, how have I not got myself out of this half with the 1-goal advantage? But win it where it's due. Down the byline. Be one of the best players we've seen in this tournament.
One of the best players in this tournament, getting inside the box and then keeping his cool, knowing where to pass, knowing where to do the skill move. Beautiful double tap back into the box and a great finish from Houston. He also knew that it was the last chance of the half, so he had to go forward. He couldn't have gone backwards and try and make a different angle. He had to attack and he had to go into the attacking third when he did. You would argue a little bit against the run of play, because I feel like Principe was the better player in that first 45 minutes. Houston gets the goal, 1 apiece at half-time in Game 3 here to catch you up to date. If Houston wins this game, well, Astralis will be champions.
Let's have a look at the goals that went, as we said. Brilliant start for Principe, 19 minutes in to the game. We said the first goal was everything, and as on the flip side we said, he'd be thinking to himself, get myself out of half-time with this squad, and this was another golden chance. That ball had to be played to Pele.
I think it had to go a fraction earlier than it did. Whipped into the box. Ronaldo gets up. Great save from the goalkeeper. Houston with a shake of the head. He knew that he had to switch up before half-time and switch on. Pele with the cutback. Bruno Fernandes wheels away in celebration. And that is how the first half did finish.
The back underway. 45 minutes now. Away from either Astralis being crowned champions here in Zone 4. If they win this game, they'll be the only team that would have done it in 3 in a zone final. Principe has to win to keep the series moving, to keep it into an opportunity for them to turn it round. On the flip side, if Houston can score this now, Ronaldo teases, wow, and that's what Houston's all about. 2 goals in 5 minutes. And the Great Dane is back on top once again.
Coming out in this second half like a house on fire is Houston. Great finish from Cristiano Ronaldo. Sending Astralis into a winning position here in Zone 4. And this is the situation that Principe did not want to find himself in, having to chase the game against Houston.
I can assure you they'll be a very happy August Rosamai somewhere now in Copenhagen. Not job done yet, but a brilliant turnaround. Now Principe looking to reply instantly. Pele dancing in the box. That's absolutely fantastic. The scoop turn, the ball rolls, the combinations are on point, and that's what Pele can do.
Not only what Pele can do, that's what Principe can do when he lets the shackles go. Unbelievable goal. Ball roll, scoop turn. He's perfect from Principe.
Not even a smile from the Italian. He knows it's still a mountain to climb.
He's in.
Goal, giving him that momentum to go forward. Brilliant from Mbappe. Lovely directional nutmeg. Ronaldo, brilliant directional nutmeg. Again, CR7. Brilliant save.
Just looks, he's just playing different, is Principe in this game. Ronaldo with the header flicked on. Keeper does well.
Just expressing himself so much more in the final third. Something we did not see in the first game between these two.
But the way that Houston plays, he will allow you to do that. He'll give you space. He'll let you play. It's not like where Raga's playing a 5-back and there's no space to attack into. Houston wants this type of game where you just free-flowing, you score, I score.
Another chance to come forward now. This is Houston. So good in these sort of areas, so good down the byline. It's a constant guessing game. CR7 gets stopped in his tracks by Maldini. Into a pause will go. We're looking at the POV of Houston here. Currently in the 4-4-2. Is it time for some fresh legs?
Looking like Pele is going to be replaced by informed Neymar at left mid. Just on the other side of that, having a look at team makers. Informed Neymar also brought on. And also Johan Cruyff potentially instead of Neymar. The only thing that we know is Pele is coming off. The question is, who's going to be replacing him? He has gone for Cruyff. Prime Cruyff coming on at camp.
Just watch out from these corners, because they have been so good, both of these players. That one goes into the box, acres of space. Maldini able to deal with it. Not for so long. Finds its way back to R9. Still R9 in possession. Last third of this game. Ronaldo, fake shot back inside. Maldini again needed. At the back there to deny Houston, as we said. His next goal can be huge. Could be the tournament winner. Or the goal to keep Mkers in this best of 5. Brilliant from Mbappe. Still down the line, pulls out a centre-back there. Tries to drop the shoulder, wins a corner. Watch out from these areas now. Manually control Ronaldo, that's what they're going to do. Ronaldo's there, Ronaldo will win this in the air and he'll try and get it on target. Aim for the back post for Hullet. Just about on side with Bruno Fernandes. Neymar.
He had space to go into there. It opened up inside the box for informed Neymar. All the football right now seems to be falling back to Principe.
Look, there's the space. Cruyff off the bench, 5-star weak foot, heel to heel, dance in the box, needs a huge left boot of Virgil van Dijk.
I think he just took one touch too many there inside the box. The heel to heel was fantastic, and then he took another touch to sort of set it up into a better position. Did Principe.
Houston now just trying to take the sting out of the game. Get back on the ball. What a ball that could be, R9 in a running race. It's the team of the year. Liverpool centre-back. Wins that one well. Goes forward again. It's been some of those balls from Principe. Haven't been brilliant. They keep getting dispossessed. Fortunate enough, Hullet's there. Look at that run that Hullet will continue to make if he wants to use it. Just is there to disrupt the AI. Same again here with Trent being pulled out. Look how good Principe's been with disrupting this back line. He's got Cruyff there. He's fresh off the bench. Can he turn his man? Ronaldo, interchange as well. Directional nutmeg to remember! Principe!
What a goal from Principe. He's been unbelievable in the final third with directional nutmeg, I have to say. Using it at the right time, in the right space, and we're going to see that goal right now. Just that touch to breeze past Maldini. I think it was a defensive mistake. He was on Maldini, and he flicked to Virgil van Dijk, meaning that Maldini then was controlled by the AI, just breezed past him with the pace of Ronaldo. Inside the box, the question then is, can Cristiano finish on his left foot? And smashed it past the goalkeeper. This Zone 4 final is not over yet.
9 minutes away. Not just from keeping teammates in this best of 5, but for himself. Something for him to remember. He's never beaten Houston in any tournament. Outside the E-Club World Cup as well. Just to say, I'm good. There's a reason why I'm in this grand final. And if I need to do it again in Game 5, I will do it again. Ronaldo dancing in the box. That would have been
incredible.
Remarkable. Still, 5 minutes left. Options flooded into the box for Houston. If he was to score, we would go to extra time. Everybody back, every single player back. Chance in the box, it's whipped in. Again, it's defended very well. Principe, this is in your hands now. May have just thrown out of his hands. Look at the run.
De Bruyne.
Look at the space. De Bruyne. Oh, again, Maldini, clutch.
Goal kick as well. He might get one more chance to score Houston in this tie. You see the constant pressure and the team press is out from Houston.
He's done well. Yeah, Neymar's done superbly well. A minute left, you'd probably say of added time. We'll have to wait and see. Astralis will be praying for 2 minutes of added time. It will be 2. Got to win the ball from this throw-in. Principe. That's to rewrite some history for himself. Never beaten Houston. What a time to do so. Get the ball forward. We will be going into a game number 4. Principe. He knows it as well. A simple nod of the head. When he was asked to come up with a bigger result, he's done exactly that. And his teammate right now might be saying, okay, that's why I joined this team makers side. This player that's played for this team since 2017. He's been a regional winner. He's been in this E-Club World Cup 3 times.
Team captain, you would say as well. The main man at Team Makers. All the question marks was against Principe. Can he beat Houston? I said no. Everybody else said no. He's done it. He's clutched up for Team Makers and kept this final ticking over. Kept it alive for the Italian side. When you see the results, 4-0 and 3-2 in the first 2 games, we thought Houston is just going to breeze past Principe again. But an incredible performance from Principe to keep this Makers side alive in the final.
I mean, the facts were this simple, as we said. They played in the groups. Houston won 4-1. They played in the first game of this. Best of 5. 4-0. You look at that, you're thinking, Houston, you've got to do it again.
It's only going one way, yeah.
It feels like when you're in such a good position like that, we spoke about in commentary, for a play, sometimes you think all I've got to do is win the game, but there's so much still at stake. And as you said, you win this, you get $27,500. That game, technically thrown away in the end, but not by any means. It was a great performance from Principe.
I mean, the goals that Principe scored as well, there were some unbelievable goals. And especially over the last few years, we've always sort of assumed, and not only assumed, but the stats have been there as well. Principe, he doesn't typically score a lot of goals in the final third. He defends really well, and he makes sure that he's strong at the back and then plays on the counter. That was about as good of an attacking performance from any player that we've seen in this Club World Cup. He not only did he beat Houston, but he scored 3 goals against Houston as well. And right now, when you look at the complexion of this final, the pressure's on Oli Bolly. You've got to go. You're expected to beat Aga. Go and beat him.
I mean, this is what we've been saying in this final. It seems like the best performances are always saved there. Oli Bolly never lost the game in this E-Club World Cup. Loses to Aga in the grand final. Flip side, Principe never beaten Houston. Goes and beats him in, no doubt, the biggest game in this E-Club World Cup. That man on your screen now in Oli Bolly, again, has to go and win to take us to a Game 5. Well, we'll go back to the PlayStation again, potentially so, Richard, for a third and final time.
And talk about pressure, all the pressure put on Oli Bolly's shoulders right now. Aga, if he can get another win against Oli Bolly, it's wrapped up, it's over. But you see the results on your screen right there. If you are just joining us, what a time to join us here at the FIFA 21 E-Club World Cup. We've had 3 games in our Zone 4 final. You would argue as well, the most competitive region as well, Brandon. Most prize money up for grabs and most competitors entered into this Zone 4 region. And that is how they got to this grand final.
Yeah, they did indeed. It's been the battle of the eSports organisations in this one. Not a football club in sight. Both very, very different runs into this grand final. Astralis, as you said, went back-to-back against 2 Italian football clubs. On the flip side for Makers, it was a win against Zeta Gaming from penalties, and then more penalties against Schalke. Still plenty of action to come in our next game. We go into Game 4, but before we do, going to throw it back over to Spencer to break down some of the action from that last game.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yes, we're going to look at the directional nutmeg that Principe used so well there for Mkers in that surprise win, I have to admit, against Astralis. I'd written him off, the boys had written him off, none of us saw that coming. It's great for the entertainment, though, it keeps it alive. Let's take a look at this. There's a couple of things I want to look at. So, obviously, this is Mkers Principe in the red here. He's going to get the ball into the man in the middle. Let's pause it here for a second. So you've got a sort of one-on-one match-up here. We're looking at Ronaldo on the ball. This is the man that's going to do that directional nutmeg, which is so good for so many reasons. It's like a slightly better, more adaptable version of the bridge, which is a little bit easier to do in terms of the buttons you've got to press. But this is called directional for a reason. You can take it in any kind of direction you want. Normally, it's most effective when the defender is right on top of you and you're putting the ball past him, ideally through his legs, but not necessarily essential, as you'll see here, and you find space. That's not actually how it's used here. And what I want you to concentrate on is obviously we can see the player that is selected here for Astralis and for Uston, okay? So that's the man that's directly in front of Ronaldo. It's that one-on-one face-off. The position they've got right now, you wouldn't necessarily think, even though it can be really good because of the sort of acceleration boost you get when you do the directional nutmeg, you wouldn't think he's absolutely poised to be beaten by it because he's not too on top of him. But what happens for Uston, which makes it worse, is he changes player. You can see the red cursor above that defender. He's going to switch because he is expecting a pass to happen here. He's expecting a pass to happen. So he changes player to this man. You can see it happen in real time in a second. He changes player to that man, which then means he's no longer in control of the centre-back who's about to get beaten by that directional nutmeg, which makes it harder for him to recover from it. If we watch it now in slow-mo, you'll see what I'm talking about. Changes player there. So now he's no longer in control, and this is where we're going to see the directional nutmeg. Doesn't actually go through his legs, that's just the name of the skill. Once you get through on goal there, even on the weak foot, it's going to go in. That's the skill we've seen time and time again used. You've got to be in your arsenal now as a pro player. You're going to use it at some point, but very effective. And I mean, I'm still in shock, to be honest, Layla, because I wrote him off. The last two results have surprised me. Didn't think Aga was going to get it, didn't think Principe was going to get it, but we are still in the exact same position I thought we were going to be at this point, which is 2-1 to Astralis. I still think it's going to go to the fifth game. I still think Astralis are going to get it, but I'm nowhere near as confident in that prediction as I was half an hour ago.
I mean, it's almost as if we need to say hello, Principe. He literally joined the competition at that leg and really expressed himself in a different way.
Yes, and you know, he said he's never beaten Uston before, but what a time to get your first victory against him. The first time it really, really matters in this tournament, at least. He had to win this game. The earlier meetings, yeah, it's not great to lose them, but there's always a chance for recovery. That was the one he had to win, or else his team were done for and finished. He's got the win. He scored not just one, not two, but 3 goals against a player didn't look like he was going to get any goals against in that first match when he lost 4-0. So you have to say, well done. We're going to see the goals back again here. And yeah, I mean, he just found space in the box in a way that he was not doing in that first match. You can see what it means to the Italian. He's absolutely pumped. He's bringing back the name Ice Principe because he is ice cold. I'll be honest, again, when Uston got that equaliser there, I thought, OK, now we're going to see Uston put his momentum together. He looks that way even more so in the second half when he gets this goal. Poor defending, I have to say, for Principe there to let him turn so easily in the box. At 2-1, I couldn't see a way back for the Mkers player, but he kept finding it. Really quick passing on the edge of the box here. Really good feet to find the space there. Bit more composure than we've seen in previous games from Principe. And, of course, we just watched this goal, in slow-mo. Changing a player really not helping Uston there, and that directional nutmeg. And look at what it means to him.
You can see that it's really a lot of emotion there. You've mentioned composure in the game. What else is Principe doing right? Because he really has turned it around.
Well, he's adapted, obviously. He spent that time between that first match and that second match there against Uston. He's really worked on something, played a completely different game. He's gone from 4-0 defeat to a 3-2 win. Uston will be really frustrated about that because you know, you want those results to happen in the reverse order. You don't want to be beating someone 4-0 and then losing 3-2. You feel like, well, I had it figured out, and now what's changed? Because he's got to find a way. If we're to assume that Oliboli does win this next game, that will be the final, of course. The fifth game will be an Uston Principe rematch. However, Aga has just beaten Oliboli.
You're talking about coming in and making the difference in this stage. You know, Oliboli was undefeated up until this point and then loses a game at this stage. So what can we expect from Oliboli now?
Well, this is where he's got to remind people why he was unbeaten, ultimately, isn't it? If you go from winning every single game or not losing a game in group stage and knockouts to then losing the 2 final matches, I'd rather win the 2 final matches. I don't care about the other games, as long as I'm there. To be fair to Principe, though, he started to carry... Not carry, but he started to carry his own weight, I guess you could say, because he was relying on Ollie massively, and now it's reversed a little bit with those results. The reason I still think Astralis are going to do it is because Aga has given me this new sense of faith in him that he can beat Ollie, but if he doesn't do it, we then go back to the rematch between Uston and Principe, where I think it could go either way.
It could. Let's see what Matteo thinks. Matteo is still with us. Now, I'm pretty sure you, as similar to the other guys, maybe didn't expect to be back on the broadcast today.
Yeah, sure.
And what did you think of that last game and Principe's performance?
Yeah, as I told you, Principe is a nice man, of course. So he's a champion as well. And when he needs to step back, he does. So massive performance about him because he went up. Then he went another way down, but he equalized it straight away and then finds with a great goal the decisive moment to pass the ball again to Oliboli that needs to revenge his first loss against Age.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Matteo, you're right to point out that Principe is a champion. He's got that championship winning mentality, which he clearly had there in the game he had to win. But the problem we've got here is all four of them are champions. All four of these guys have won major championships in the future. What do you see happening in the next game between Aga and Oliboli? Do you think that Oliboli is going to return the favour and get a win, or will Aga do the double?
Yeah, as I predicted, I think we are going to game 5 because Oliboli was undefeated as well, as I said, and I don't think he will lose again. So I expect a decisive game on PS4 between Houston and Principe, and will be a thrilling final because Houston is another guy, of course, who doesn't like losing 2 times in a row.
Wow, I want to keep you there for a moment and just invite Spencer into a quick question. So you both thought it would only go to 3 legs. Now you think it's definitely going to go to 5 legs?
No, I thought it would go to 5. I said it would go to 5.
True.
I didn't think it would happen in this way. I thought it was going to be PlayStation wins for Astralis, Xbox wins for Makers. That way around. Xbox wins for Makers. But that's not actually what's happened. And yeah, I think it still will go to 5, I think.
So I want you both to play coach for a minute. So Spencer, if you were to speak to Astralis now, just ahead of this leg, what would you say? And then Matteo, I'll come to you and ask you what you would say to Makers. But Spence first.
Well, Astralis are playing with no pressure here, in my opinion. They've got the 2-1 lead. And Aga has already beaten the man that hadn't been beaten. So Aga's taken a massive weight off his own shoulders. He's proved anyone that was in doubt about the current form of Aga Rosemeyer has been silenced because he's playing his best FIFA in years. So he should have no real fear going into this game. Whatever strategy he employed against Oliboli last time, do the same again.
Matteo, what would you be saying to Makers right now?
Yeah, of course, pressure is all on Oliboli, but he showed that he can play at the same level of Agis. Of course, we are speaking about champions. So, as he said to me yesterday, he has no fear. Also, massive respect for Agi. But, in FIFA at this level, everything could happen and games are decided by small margins.
Matteo, thank you very, very much. Spence, can we say that Ollie potentially just had that feeling out period in that first game? Because that's an unusual result for him. And we might see a different player now.
The Oliboli stat of him not losing a game, whilst true, may be a little bit flattering because he also needed the luxury of extra time penalties, whatnot, in those knockout games, just like Principe did. Difference between Principe and Oliboli is Oliboli was getting them 1 every single time. But he's been on fine form. He's part of this Swedish movement at the moment. It seems like they're just growing players on trees. I don't know where they're coming from, but it's unbelievable at the moment. And he's won a regional qualifier this year already. But yeah, there is a bit of pressure on him here. And I will remind him of a statement he did make in that VT we saw at the start of the show. He said, "I am convinced my team Makers will win this." His words. And we should remind him of that. So he's put the pressure on himself, really, hasn't he?
But you have to go into the games convinced that you're going to win. Surely Aga has the same mindset.
I'm sure he does. I mean, I think Aga is very, very... We heard his humility on display at the start of that broadcast. And no disrespect to Oliboli, because I think he's right to be confident, and I like confident players. But there was a different vibe coming out the two camps, wasn't there? Oliboli was, "I'm convinced we're going to win." Yeah. Aga was like, "My teammate's very good. I hope I can be in the textbook of history or whatever," even though he's basically written it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's different approaches. Everyone's different.
Are you touching on the fact that potentially Makers were underestimating Astralis today?
I think if they were underestimating, they were underestimating Aga.
Yeah.
And he's already silenced that again, like I said, with that win, even if he loses this next match. But I don't think so. I think both teams knew what they were going up against. 4 champions. you know, what's amazing about this game, or these next 2 games, if it goes the way I think it will, and if Astralis wins, it's a double record, because you've got the first person to ever win 2 E-Club World Cups. There's not been loads of them, but the first person to win 2 would be Uston. He won one previously with Bromby, who've won 2. There's a team that have won 2, but no one player. Actually, I think Fredberg might have been involved in 2 of them, actually. So he might have 2 already. I'm sure Richard Buckley and Brandon can confirm that for me.
Confirm it from a distance.
He might not be the first, actually, Uston, but he would have been the first person to win it with 2 different teams, I think would be the correct stat. But Aga will be the first person to have won a World Championship. He's won the FIWC, as it was known then, now known as the FEWC, and the Club World Cup. No one's done that before. That would be a really cool stat to have, and I'm sure he'd enjoy it.
Well, Aga is going to face Oli Bolly right now as Astralis take on Mkers for the 4th leg. It's back over to our casters.
Thank you very much, guys. And yeah, I mean, just alluding on those points from Layla and Spence, you know, you've got a player here in Oli Bolly, first ever FIFA E Club World Cup. Not a bad run, is it, to make a grand final in your first time? Up against August Rosemeyer. I think that game we saw from Aggie, no doubt one of the best games he's played so far in this tournament. We've alluded to it a couple of times. He's been able to grind out these sort of 0-0 results, these 1-1 draws, and no doubt grinded out an unbelievable result in that second game in the best of 5. We're in game number 4. Astralis still in front, but they've still got to go and win again.
Just a result that nobody thought was going to happen, in all honesty. When you look at the form book, when you look at what has actually happened, we're going to actually have the opportunity to look at this second leg where Aga sort of upset the record book and upset the form book right here. Let's have a look, if you did miss it, and check out what happened in game number 2.
Penalties, penalties, penalties everywhere, and there's another goal for Oli Bolly. 9 minutes in, a reaction is needed into this team Mkers camp, and it's come in the form of Oli Bolly. Lovely scoop turn from R9, August Rosemeyer.
Instant reply from Aga.
He shoots out Cristiano Ronaldo.
Genius. Genius from Aga right there.
August Rosemeyer could be on for a third. Gonna stay composed, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Last chance for the win this in the air. Ronaldo is there. That restores some hope for Oli Bolly. Look at the numbers he's got forward. Surely not. This would be remarkable. Patrick Vieira. That's why he's there. Get the ball clear. Astralis have just pulled off an absolute miracle. And there you had it. What a game that was. Game number 2 it was. You can see the runs that both of these 2 teams had in this one. It's been the battle of the sports organisations in Europe for the FIFA E Club World Cup final. It was a double Italian football club teams they did take down. Took down Gennaro eSports and AC Mondo on the flip side. It was Zeta Gaming after 2 penalty shootouts and a much more simpler win in their semi-final though for Mkers. Penalty shootouts, not once, twice, but 3 times. And now we're in this grand final. We're in game number 4. Astralis, as you can see, won game number 1 4-0. Aggie beat Oli Bolly 3-2. Now we go again. Oli Bolly. Can he go and pull this one around? He's only lost 1 game in the tournament. That came in this best of 5 final. He's been no doubt the most consistent player in the FIFA E Club World Cup. Up into that match where he did drop his first game. Of course, it will be Aga again in the white from left to right in this one. That's on the flip side. Oli Bolly kicking from right to left in this game. If Astralis win, they will be the FIFA E Club World Cup champions here in Zone 4, pocketing $27,500 as well.
Huge, huge game. I mean, the question that we've got to ask that's not been answered yet, how does Oli Bolly bounce back from a defeat? He's not had to do that yet.
Minutes underway here. As you said, what a game it was. It was actually Oli Bolly that went 1-0 up in 9 minutes when these 2 played earlier today. And then Aggie came back not once, twice, but 3 times in that half, Richard. Scored 3 goals. We left the first 45 of a scoreline of 3-2. Here comes Aga now. Lovely scoop turn from Cristiano Ronaldo. Will try and look to bring in a couple more players into this attack. It goes back to Vieira. He was so clutch for him at the back in game number 2. Watch out for Bruno Fernandes. Nice directional nutmeg into space and unfortunately off the pitch.
Just a reminder right there of the stats that August Rosemeyer has been putting up in the Club World Cup knockout phases. You see 1 win from home, 3 wins away from home, and plenty of goals as well. And get the opportunity to look at his group stage matches. Lots of draws, but in the knockouts, that's where he's been picking up the dubs.
Playing his best FIFA in the knockouts, hasn't he? Incredible performances when his teammate needed him. Chance early on, brilliant save by the feet of Edwin van der Sar, just sort of sweeper keeper-esque. Came out, denied R9. Straight back down the other end we go for Aga. Maldini just about does enough to just keep Ronaldo away from his box. And again, Ronaldo off the pitch. Went for the heel to, went for the combination. Didn't come out how he would have wanted it to there. 20 minutes near enough played in this one. And as you can see on the flip side, Oli Bolly's run. Unbeaten FIFA. This man has shown, currently 3rd in those PlayStation rankings coming into this one. On his away console, he's played the whole FIFA E-Club World Cup as an Xbox player. To be honest, that's not fazed him, has it?
Not at all. I mean, when you're a player as good as Oli Bolly as well, you can sort of just get through any game, get through any console that gets thrown at you.
Here he comes. You can see his results, as you said, Rich.
Not convincing in the knockouts, though. A couple of penalty shootouts needed.
And
3 penalty shootouts.
Much stronger in the group. As you said, it took him to round 6 to actually drop a couple of points for his team. Chance, lovely fake shot, lovely goal! Brilliant start for Oli Bolly.
The first time fake shot is proving to be a real dribbling technique and skill move that you have to have in your locker. As soon as the ball went into Oli Bolly's feet, he's turned direction so quickly and then just fires that shot off with his CR7. Let's not forget that Oli Bolly did go 1-0 up though in game 2 as well, and Aga brought it back.
Sort of replied instantly, did he, with R9? 6 minutes after, I remember it perfectly well. Could we see the exact same scenario here? Tries to squeeze that ball into the feet of R9, well defended by Virgil van Dijk. As we said, currently, you can see it at the bottom, this is your Zone 4 final in the FIFA Club World Cup. There's a prize pot of $75,000 just for Zone 4. Winner of this game walks away with $27,500. Bolly again, third of this one got up by a goal to 0, looking for a second with Ronaldo again, lovely directional nutmeg, what a save by Van der Sar with his right hand.
Huge save from Van der Sar, narrowed down the angle and just got anything on it. Corner whipped into the box, Ronaldo gets up, Vieira double team in CR7.
Still, Oli Bolly though, you can see every single corner, it's always into Ronaldo, brilliant pass, Ronaldo this time, cheeky chip, oh, that would have been an unbelievable goal.
Delicate chip over the goalkeeper, just evading the post as well.
One of those, it was moving so quickly, he had to make a decision with what techniques he were going to use in front of goal. Aga. Forward again. To a Davies, there's Ronaldo! Ooh, that was near enough a volley into the back of the net. Petr Cech off his line to pick up the pieces from the original block.
Very good wicked cross as well when it went out to Alphonso Davies. Just making sure he got anything on it. Did CR7. Not enough conviction on the strike to harm the goalkeeper, but still promising signs for Team Astralis.
Oli Bolly certainly looked the better of the two in the final third so far in this game. We'll be thinking, how have I not scored 2 goals at least? It's been mainly his Cristiano Ronaldo. With a player that's sort of disrupted that back line of Aga. Last chance of the first 45 will fall to Astralis' 2014 World Cup champion. To Virgil van Dijk. Look how far forward he is! Corner to come in, brilliant save from Cech in the knees. The Czech Republic goalkeeper That one whipped in towards Ronaldo. Surely, look at the space. Headed away by Ruud Gullit, the only man that seems to be able to stop Ronaldo in the air. Any time to follow. Ronaldo, directional nutmeg! That's a penalty. That's going to be a penalty. Went for the directional nutmeg. Virgil van Dijk fell into the tackle. And what an opportunity this will be for Raggi to tie things up. It will be Cristiano Ronaldo, Mr. Reliable, you'd like to think, from the spot. Steps up for Raggi, and he's saved!
Straight down the middle with no cursor. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to fully commit to one side and potentially put it wide. A little bit too safe from Aga right there. And Oli Bolly still leads at half-time.
And not often penalties, Rich, as we've seen them so many times, especially for team makers. They become so difficult at times. Which way do you go? We've seen Mkers, we've seen some awful penalties. They haven't even been on target. That one, he went down the middle, no Panenka needed, tried to disguise it. Of course, it's a lottery from the spot, but that's an opportunity you're not going to get again.
Are we going to Game 5? That is the question. Or can August Rosemeyer and Astralis wrap it up in 4?
Another opportunity there wasted by Aga. What a chance, won't find a better one. Back on the way, as you said, for the second half. If you have just tuned in, this is your Zone 4 final. Best of 5s, every single Zone final. From 1 to 6. Of course, Zone 6 coming up later on this evening in North America. We get to see last year's champions. Complexity Gaming back involved against New York City. There plans to be another great Zone final. Before we do that, though, we've got to find out who will be the European champion, so to speak, here in Zone 4. Astralis won their first 2 games. Houston won 4-0, 3 goals to 2. Aggie did win. And then Principe back against the wall. Comes up clutch with a massive result to keep his team and his teammate in Oli Bolly in this one. As I said, Oli Bolly did beat Aga in the groups. This is knockout football. Completely different stories we've seen. Both players tearing up the scripts in Aga and in Principe.
Majority of this second half has just been played in the sort of central third of the pitch. Both players looking to play through, but defence and midfield standing strong for both players.
Vieira, that's a great ball into Trent Alexander-Arnold. Can he whip it into the box? Chance for Ronaldo. Well played, Jack. We've seen so many good performances from goalkeepers this last couple of days. Whether it's Schmeichel, Cech, Van der Sar, the list goes on. Ronaldo, lovely scoop turn. Here's Oli Bolly. Chance, goal! And that's the 2-goal cushion that he's been looking for such a long time in this game.
R9 Ronaldo. We've watched a lot of Oli Bolly in the past 12 months. If there's one player that Oli Bolly has a connection with, it's R9, whether it be in online tournaments, whether it be in LAN events, whether it be in Club World Cup format. R9 Ronaldo always seems to deliver for Oli Bolly.
As we said, it was a 4-2 victory in the groups when they played. Oli Bolly, no doubt, has been sort of at the forefront, not just of competitive FIFA in general, but of this team makers team in this competition, with some of the results that he's been piling up, some of the score lines that he's been delivering when they needed him to. So many times they've been to third games, Richard, and it's fallen back to the Xbox, it's fallen back to Oli Bolly. He's delivered. Look across, as you said, all the games they've played in the knockouts, the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, penalty shootouts. Well, you can talk for days about it, the chances that have happened. Long ball over the top, Ronaldinho fresh off the bench in a running race with Ramos. This time just hasn't been working out for Aga.
I think the difference being in that second game that we saw in this series between these two when they matched up, as soon as Oliboli went 1-0 up, Aga replied instantly and was doubled his lead shortly afterwards, 2-1, 3-1 up. This time around, Oliboli's almost settled in the game.
Davies, acres of space to drive forward. Oliboli 20 minutes away from taking us into a 5th game. We saw a reverse sweep last night here in the UK. Where Zone 5 concluded after 5 games. I mean, no doubt we knew South America was going to be competitive, Richard. Europe, no doubt the most competitive of all the teams that have signed up to be involved in this across the conferences, the qualifiers, the playoffs. The 14 of the teams that made it to the E-Club World Cup finals. Felt like this one was going to go the extra mile, and we're only 50 minutes away from confirming that.
These are the top 2 teams out of those hundreds and hundreds who tried to qualify and tried to win Zone 4.
15 minutes now. Aga. Is it too little, too late? Could this be one of the chances? Vieira of all players. Back to Ronaldo. CR7 trying to turn, trying to twist, trying to find a way round the corner. Could be offside, could be back on. There's Neymar there. Eusebio fresh off the bench. Oliboli to put the game to bed. Eusebio. There's the cut back into Mbappe. Cleared off the line. And still somehow not in the back of the net.
That was a huge chance to kill the game off right there for Oliboli. If Aga goes up the other end and scores right now, just try to force that ball in behind. I don't think he will score, but Oliboli probably kicking himself that he's not sealed this game off yet.
Massive tackle. Aga. Bruno Fernandes. Brilliant idea. Can't find the feet of his forward. Another chance goes begging. Chance to put the game to bed, Oliboli. And to send us into a 5th and final game, into Ronaldo! We're going to a 5th game.
Game 5. He's right around the corner. Oliboli clutching up for this team Mkers side. Didn't do it the first time around, but on the second time of asking, getting that huge win for Team Mkers. And it falls back into the hands of Principe and Houston.
An unpredictable 5th game. Yeah. Where do you go? Which team do you back? Any sort of script that we've been trying to follow has been ripped up instantly from previous results, previous matchups. Who's been unbeaten? Who's not played so well?
See the POV right there of Team Mkers. Great composure in the final third. Just squaring it across. CR7 on that left boot. No mistake whatsoever.
Been perfect. Been absolutely perfect from Oliboli.
But he can't do any more. This is it right now for Oliboli.
He's put it in his hands. He's put it in. He's given it to Mkers' hands.
Giving it back to Principe and saying, "You've done it once. Go and do it again."
I mean, what an opportunity for Principe, as you said. People may be sleeping on him as well. Player that won a tournament back in 2017, the regional winner out of Madrid all those years ago, but has always still remained in the conversation. He's played in 3 E-Club World Cups. There is a goal back for Aga. Might be more than the consolation, in all honesty. But I mean, this is an unbelievable opportunity, Richard. Not only to send Team Mkers as winners of this tournament, a team that's backed him for so many years. No doubt one of the most capped players, the most capped player for Team Mkers. He's played in all 3 of the FIFA Club World Cups that his team has been involved in. If he wins this, Rich, easily back into the conversation, no doubt.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't argue with trophy wins. Accolades are premium. And if you can get a Club World Cup under your belt, nobody can sort of even discuss that. You're the winner. You are the best team out of all the clubs that entered. 4-1 game over right there. Oliboli will be taking us to a game 5.
And there you have it. 2-2 in this best of 5. That means we're going to a 5th matchup. That's why we do it over 5 games. Just in case we need to go there. This game does need to go there. $27,500 up for grabs. And, of course, the chance to call yourself a FIFA E-Club World Cup champion here in Zone 5. I mean, they were 2-0 up. They're going into a game number 5 now, Richard. Ollie Bolly does his job. You can see him on the screen now. 3-1. Still laser focused in because it's not job done yet. We're back to the PlayStation for a 3rd and final time now. I really don't know which way this one is going to go.
Incredible scenes between these two. The games that we thought were nailed on in regards to, we thought Ollie Bolly was going to win both games against Aga. That's not happened. He's only won 1. We thought that Houston was going to win at least both games against Principe. That's not happened. They've traded matches, both of these two. It's been a remarkable tournament, and you can see the scorelines just underneath us right now if you are just joining us for Game 5. This is where it will get decided. 4-0, Houston beat Principe, first game of the day. Aga beat Ollie Bolly 3-2 in what was an unbelievable performance from former world champion August Rosemeyer. Principe bounced back, beating Houston 3-2 and 4-1 victory for Ollie Bolly, putting the sword to Aga. Both of them two, all you can do is sit back, kick your feet up and hope your teammate wins it for you.
Yeah, I mean, as simple as that. As I said, we go into a 5th and final game right now. What a story this could be, as you said. Back in 2018, it was actually Houston's team that knocked out Team Makers in the semi-finals of that tournament. As we know, Houston went and won the FIFA Club World Cup. 2 years, a couple more years on from that. You know, Houston potentially going back-to-back as an E-Club World Cup winner. You have, as we call him, Mr. Team Maker. He's been there since 2017 to finally go and repay that team that has put so much trust and respect into him over these last couple of years. This one plans to be a brilliant game. The 3rd time we go back to the PlayStation. This time, it's for the final time.
Well, it'd also be the most successful Club World Cup competitor ever, would Houston, when you consider the 2 trophies in this tournament. Also, Aga really cementing his FIFA legacy, full stop. E-World Cup in 2014 and then also Club World Cup in 2021. Game 5 is right around the corner, but let's head over to Layla and Spencer to get their thoughts on Game 4.
Yes, we've seen Uston make his mark at the beginning, then Principe win it back. We've seen Aga, beat the undefeated, and then Ollie Bolly make it back. Now, I guess I'm asking you whether the momentum is in Maker's favour.
I don't know if... I mean, it's even. I'd say it's even at this point. It's been reset. It's just one game now, isn't it?
Just really? Completely reset.
It is one match, Uston versus Principe, and the form book before that last game would have said it was Uston win, but Principe has shown he can beat him now, so it's really in Principe's hands as well as Uston's, and it's been an epic series. I said it would go to 5, I thought it would, not quite the way I thought it would in terms of who has won the games, but it has gone to 5, and amazingly, despite the fact that Maker's involved, we haven't seen any extra time or penalties yet, which is a miracle.
I know. Well, we want to talk to Matteo, see how he's feeling about all of this. Matteo, are you still on the line? Here he is, Matteo. I want to dive straight into Game 5 and ask you, what do you think will happen?
Yeah, it seems me and Spencer were right. So we'll have a Game 5. As Spencer mentioned, I was thinking exactly the same thing because I don't want to expose myself too much. But I think we'll witness a dramatic ending, even penalties or extra time. So I expect a really close game between them.
It has definitely been bubbling up to this moment. Penalties, extra time, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it could. I mean, if you look at the 2 games between Uston and Principe, the first one was 4-0 to Uston. It was a very, very convincing display. But that last one was 3-2. And that tells me Principe's maybe figured out a little bit about what he needs to do against Uston, which makes me think this will be tighter. I don't think we're going to see a 4-0 from Uston or anything like that. I still think Uston's going to do it. But Principe's really given me a bit of thinking to do there. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did do it. I just think Uston slightly edges it.
So Spencer thinks Uston edges it. What are your thoughts on Uston right now, Matteo?
Yeah, for sure. Uston will not lose again by such a big margin. I think will be a very close game, as I mentioned before. We saw Principe has changed his play style because he went to 4-2-3-1. Which is something different between the 4-4-2s or the 5-3-2 we are seeing in the last games. So maybe he found the right key to overcome Houston, and maybe Houston now has something in his back to counter this situation back.
Matteo, thank you very, very much. It is, of course, best of 5. So now we go to the PS4. Uston v Principe, our final game of our finals.
Thank you very much. Yes, and for one final time, Richard, game number 5 in a game that has given us everything. There was a script to follow. That one got ripped up after game number 2, and then we kept guessing and guessing and guessing. Astralis were 2-0 up in games in the best of 5. Then it got turned on its head, and as you said from Matteo, this is a great opportunity for Principe to go and, you know, reclaim himself at the forefront of competitive FIFA team makers, or for Uston to go and repeat some more history. I mean, he could be the only 2-time E-Club World Cup winner.
Look, I think the form book's out the window. What's happened in the previous 4 games is out the window. This is literally a 1-game shootout. That is it. You win this game of FIFA, you are the champion. Whoever turns up, whoever plays better in this one leg, and more importantly, whoever can get a handle on their emotions, the better as well. You saw the reactions, both players very sort of... I mean, Principe was nearly crying when he won that game in game 3. So... very passionate player is Principe. We've seen it before in previous tournaments. Uston on the other side, I think when it's not going for him, he does sometimes let the emotions get the better of him a little bit, and that's where he needs Agger in his ear. One of the sort of most grounded FIFA players to ever play the game.
Well, this is where it changes, because this is a team competition, all right? You have an Xbox player and a PlayStation player. But when it goes into a final game of the best of 5, where it's on you to win the game, to become the champion, to bag yourself, your team, $27,500, it becomes a different task within itself. Here we go for the final time in Zone 4. A series that has given us everything. Upsets, drama, penalties, the usual twists and turns of an E-Club World Cup, in all honesty.
I just saw the squad selection there as well for Mkers. Eusebio getting the nod from the get-go here. Typically wouldn't be a starter in squads, but you see him over at this right cam position.
As you said, it will be Principe from left to right in this one, in the traditional sort of red-orange strip that he's played in. On the flip side, Astralis kicking from right to left. These two have played twice already in this series. It's a 4-0 win the first time they met in game number 1. The second time they met, the table was turned and the script was written, or ripped up I should say, because we thought the Principe couldn't beat Uston, in all honesty. They played twice before in the tournament. Uston beaten both times, 4-2 and 4-0. Every time they've played previously outside of the E-Club World Cup, it's always been Uston that's won the game. However, this is knockout football. Forget what's happened in the past, we're in the present.
Principe certainly broke the spell, broke the curse of Uston. Can he kick on right now? That's the question. Or will Astralis Uston get back to winning ways?
Here he comes now with his first chance of the game. A couple of step overs from R9. Lay back to it. Great ball around the corner. Keeper's off his line. Can he get the ball into the box? Back to Pele! And first blood falls in the favour of Team Astralis and their PlayStation representative, a man that wants to make it 2 E-Club World Cup Championships.
10 minutes in. Pele with the opening goal of the game, and where does it come from again? Down that byline and then the cut back into the box. Maybe the best player in the world at manipulating space in tight areas is Uston.
So many times, isn't he, Richard? Down the byline, the cutback. He teases you and he teases you. You do not know what he's looking for when he gets into that sort of area. Is it a cutback? Is it a shot or goal? Is it a cross along the box? Principe. Now he's on the back foot here. As we said, whoever wins this game wins Zone 4. Astralis at the moment are in the winning seat. There's nothing more than that Ollie Bolly could do. There's nothing more than August Rosemeyer could do other than just sit back and pray that your teammate can go and get the result for your team. I just felt that this was going to go to a game 5 and it's lived up to it.
I mean, the way that the matches were scheduled as well, it's sort of It led us to believe a Game 5 was on the cards. Pele heel to heel inside the box. Maldini does well defensively.
She said interesting to see Eusebio starts the game. Sort of right field position. Wins it back well. Here's Ronaldo. Lovely directional nutmeg. Brilliant goal! Principe squares things up.
Game 1 to Game 5. Principe just looks a different man right now. Great little touch past the last man from CR7. And in those areas, there's nobody that you would rather have than Team of the Year Cristiano Ronaldo.
It's just a directional nutmeg, isn't it? Again, working wonders. Such an effective sort of skill move or touch on the ball, allows you to explode away from a defender. Whether it's being manually controlled or with the AI and you switch on for it a little bit too late. I can't remember the players that are being used when those skill moves are being sort of inputted into the game. It's Team of the Year players, prime icons, players full of pace, incredible acceleration just to drive away from the defender. 30 minutes played there, a third of the game gone, Richard. 1-1, we're all square.
You just see the tempo a little bit being taken out of the game as well from Principe. Exactly what he wanted to do. Not allow Houston to get any sort of momentum, not allow him to build up any consistent attacks. Play at Principe's pace. That's exactly what he's doing.
Pull it into Ronaldo. Watch out for that exact same idea. He's looking for it every time. No doubt, it's a one-on-one. When Ronaldo gets into those sort of areas, it is just a one-on-one. Can I outskill you? Can I move the ball around you, through the side of you, through your legs, wherever?
Outpace you. The big thing. If you're trying that with slower players, it's not going to happen. But Team of the Year Mbappe, Team of the Year CR7, Prime Pele. Not only some of the best, but some of the quickest players on FIFA as well.
Ronaldo does well to dodge that tackle from Virgil van Dijk. Still in possession is Houston, looking for a through ball. Instead, just camouflages that one. Plays back to Bruno Fernandes, forced into the path of R9. Principe wins it back. You feel like things are swinging his way at the moment.
I mean, the momentum throughout this best of 5 has been all over the place. It's gone towards Astralis. He's then swung back towards Team Mkers after Olivoli just beat Aga in Game 4. Even playing field.
Added time to follow. 1-1 the scoreline here. Final game here in the best of 5. 2-2 they have been previously. Both players winning a game. Houston won the first one. Third time, well, the third game in the best of 5, they matched up again. Principe came out on top, 3-2 in that one. And 45 minutes played here. We're still so unsure on which way this is going to go. Possession slightly in the favour of Mkers, but the scoreline is 1-1 here. A couple of words of wisdom.
I mean, you just saw the stats at half-time as well. One shot on target for each player. Principe, you would say, certainly the most successful player to ever play for Team Mkers. That was the first goal of the game for Astralis. 10 minutes later, directional nutmeg into the space and smashed past the goalkeeper at that near post from CR7.
Don't get me wrong, there could be extra time on the cards. There could be much more.
Imagine penalties to separate them.
As we said, 45 more minutes still to be played. We'll get the gameplay back up for you as soon as we have it.
I can tell you that the game is still taking place. I think that was just one POV that we did lose, unfortunately, but we're jumping back into the game.
This is the game live as it is at this moment in time. Houston, of course, from left to right in this one, with it a chance to attack with R9. Bruno Fernandes finds Mbappe. Down the byline, into the box. What a save! Petr Cech, back and it goes again.
Huge save from Petr Cech right there. Whenever Ronaldo gets a header inside the box, it's almost a guaranteed goal.
Chance again to come forward, Hullet. Bumbled off the ball by Mbappe. Of all people, back defended. Mbappe goes to try and drive away from that player. Remember, whoever wins this game will win Zone 4 of the FIFA E-Club World Cup. Astralis against Team Mkers. $27,500 on the line. Well played, again down the byline. So good as Houston wins a corner.
Watch for Ronaldo.
Ronaldo's there. Ronaldo's up in the air. It's another great save. In comes Ronaldo again. Ronaldo's there again! Every single time that man leaps above any player.
It's not necessarily Ronaldo in the air. Yes, he's incredible, but it's how quickly the corners are taken. You don't get time to set yourself up. The ball's getting whipped into the box as soon as possible. As soon as the corner is given, it's getting put into the box. It means that you can't mark CR7. It also means that you can't move your right stick to move the goalkeeper.
How effective has that been this weekend, though? Just manually controlling CR7.
Not only that, but how many corners have Astralis scored? This isn't just Houston. This isn't Aga. This is a team. We're playing in the Club World Cup for a reason. This team has worked on set pieces.
At times, game plans may have felt like they've been thrown out the window. How this best of five has gone. Astralis, 30 minutes away from writing themselves into the history books of this competition. And more importantly, Houston to become the first ever player to be a two-time FIFA E-Club World Cup champion. Of course, that story can still be told later today in Zone 6, where we see complexity in another final. A third goal would certainly send Astralis into that possibility. Ronaldo does well. Watch the back post into R9. Somehow defended. Back he goes across. And Ruud Hullet does something corner. Taken quickly. This time Hullet's in the box. He's timed it green. It's just over the bar.
Sails over the crossbar from Ruud Hullet right there. 25 minutes remaining. You have to think this pressure that Houston is building, potentially it's going to pay off and get that second goal and give him the cushion in this final.
He's looking for it. Could this be the chance? Mbappe, ball roll, back to Ronaldo. Brilliant chance in the air. It will be. It'll be a free kick for the goalkeeper on the flip side. We're going to a pause menu. We're looking at the POV of Astralis. 4-4-2. They'll sit in the same changes to come in, no doubt.
Just inform Neymar coming on at left mid. On the flip side of that, you see a 4-2-3-1 for Team Mkers.
Looking for change, that, isn't he?
Switching into a 4-4-2 right now, modifying the ultra offensive, and inform Neymar coming on right there. He's got R9 on the bench. He has prime R9 on the bench, not even playing him. Take of that what you will.
Oh no, what is going on the back there? That was nearly disastrous for Team Mkers. Not too sure what happened there. Free kick play short again. They're on the back foot. Principe, wake up! 20 minutes. Save this for your team. It's been an incredible 5 games. 2 of our zone finals out of the 5 we've currently seen have gone to a 5th game. Team Mkers to come forward. Neymar off the bench into Ronaldo. Look at the space. Chance Ronaldo!
You cannot write Principe out again. So the last 15 minutes, Principe has been shocking. It looked like he were going to walk the ball into his own net. He were giving the ball away at every opportunity. And then out of nowhere, scores.
And scores to keep us all guessing at home. 2-2.
Principe and Ronaldo, unbelievable as well, may I just say. Pretty much all the goals that Principe scored have been with that team of the year CR7.
It's been directional nutmegs, it's been headers, it's been a complete combination of goals. 17 minutes left for someone to make themselves a hero for their team. Or will we need extra time and maybe penalties? Not again. Sure, team makers will say. We're a long way away from that, though, being a possibility yet. There will be attacks for these two. They will at least get one more good chance each, if not more. Here's nice. Mbappe. Lovely directional nutmeg. Ball rolls away from Maldini. Chance back in front. Clawed away off the line.
Great goalkeeping. Getting down, making sure he got in front of Ronaldo's feet right there.
Here's Principe. This could be magical. It nearly was, wasn't it, from Neymar? End-to-end FIFA this. Principe. Now he comes back at Astralis. Remember, if team makers win this game, they've just pulled off an incredible reverse sweep. They were 2-0 down in the series. Which of these two can hold their nerve in the final third, produce that piece of magic in the box?
If Astralis win, coming back from the brink as well after being 2-0 up and then throwing away 2 games. Incredible resiliency on show.
The amount of goals we've seen, Rich, in the 90th minute. In knockout football, in group stages, in zone finals, from all over the world. Are we going to see more of it now? Houston trying to really slow down this. Wait, he wants the last chance of the game, the last attack of the game. That's what he's playing for.
Yeah, he wants that final opportunity to score and to send Astralis home with the Club World Cup title.
Principe can do is wait and wait and wait. When he sees the opportunity to strike a tackle or to press the ball, he's got to be so sure.
Now he'll go forward.
Bolly and August Rosemeyer, teammates of these two, will just be sitting in the distance, in the back somewhere. Added time of a minute. Was on. Didn't even want to go forward. Couldn't even go forward. We need 30 more minutes to conclude this one. In our 5th game.
It was great pressing, in all honesty, from Principe. He was blocking the angles. He was blocking the passing lanes, not allowing Houston to go forward. Let's have a look at the goals from our game before we do jump into extra time. This was the goal to put Astralis 1-0 up. R9 Ronaldo cutting it back from Pele. That Brazilian link-up proving vital for Houston. Cristiano Ronaldo, who else for Principe, to tie up the game at 1 apiece. Corner whipped into the box. CR7 won it above the rest of the pack. But with 20 minutes left to play, Cristiano Ronaldo, little ball roll and then smash past the goalkeeper.
I think I've heard Cristiano Ronaldo said so many times in the last 30 seconds there, because it has been Ronaldo, isn't it? Ronaldo scoring all the goals, as it seems so far in this one. Extra time needed in our Zone 4 Grand Finals here. Team makers now in possession from left to right in this first half of extra time. On the flip side, Houston having to defend from right to left. Here comes Ronaldo, again for Principe, off the post!
Oh, what an opportunity! The shot didn't even look on. He just snapped it out. Electrifying from Principe in the final third.
Still unsettled this game. What a chance. The directional nutmeg, allowed the space for Ronaldo. Again, as he always has seemed to do. Ricochets off the post. And Principe in the driving seat in his first 10 minutes played. Goes for the directional nutmeg again. That time can't get past Virgil van Dijk. 10 minutes played already. This press from Principe. So we'll see how that front 4 are working together. Also front 2, but comes into a bit of a front 4. Your left and your right hand sided player coming forward. Pele on this side now.
Penalties starting to become more and more of a realisation for these two.
Making Houston afraid to come out and attack. Again, poor pass there. That was a through ball. Of a normal pass, it was one to not remember.
Final chance of half will fall for Principe.
Come forward now, Mbappe. Get the ball into Ronaldo. Ronaldo away on the edge of the box. Well, it just rolls around on the floor. He may have been tripped. And that will do us for 15 minutes in extra time. Still yet to find a winner in this one. 15 minutes left. Penalties are in the distance. I can see them.
Both players, live shots. That is Houston right there for Team Astralis. What a final this has been. First game, he won 4-0. Houston won 4-0 in the first game these two played, and since then, Principe has bounced back 3-2, and here we are in our final match of the best of 5. And what a substitution to bring on right there.
R9 Ronaldo. In extra time, how about that one? He's been on the bench for 105 minutes. Here comes Houston. He's got Cruyff in the box. Mbappe down the byline, lovely drag back. Houston still in possession. Tries to dance his way around 3 or 4 defenders, just cannot find a way through. And if you had to say, I think Principe's got the better of the two.
R9's on the edge.
Last 20 minutes or so. R9, lovely directional nutmeg. Mbappe, back to Neymar. R9, fresh off the bench. Nowhere around the corner past Virgil van Dijk there.
You saw him just peeling away on the edge of the box. I thought the ball was going to go to him a little bit earlier, in all honesty.
I'd say if you look to look at someone that's been in the pressure cooker before, back in 2018, that FIFAe World Cup, the E-Club World Cup final for Houston. Clawed back the result for his team in Brøndby at that time. That allowed him to be an E-Club World Cup champion. Now it's got to be better for him. A long ball forward. Is that too heavy for Mbappe? Slightly so. Principe gets the ball back. 5 minutes left. We could be going to a $27,500 penalty shootout. That is the facts. Got to get the ball forward, Houston.
The nerves must be just so intensified right now, through the roof.
2 minutes left. It's got to go forward. It's too negative at times from Houston.
He's got no passing lanes on.
He's got that long ball over the top.
Gone out.
Of play. 30 seconds left in this one. Principe.
He'll get a chance.
Last chance of the game. Last chance to be a hero. Penalties to decide the Zone 4 winners here in Europe. It's that simple. Here we go. Principe to step up first with R9. Scores.
Cultured penalty as well from Principe. Johan Cruyff for Astralis. Misses!
What an awful penalty. For 2 out of 2 for Team Mkers. Neymar to step up. Scores.
Pressure is on Patrick Vieira right now for Houston. He's missed again.
It's an awful start. 3 out of 3, surely. Saved.
Houston must get it on target. Never mind score. Put the ball in the big net.
Scores eventually. Needs to save this one though, Richard. Up steps Bruno Fernandes, surely from the spot. Cheeky Panenka. And this is where they have to score. They miss. It's game over. Up steps Ronaldo. He does score.
Pressure, penalty for Mbappe. Score and you will be the FIFA 21 Club World Cup champion. It's so far and he does score. Team Mkers. The reverse sweep is complete. Huge penalty shootout from Mr. Mkers in Principe.
The man that's been in this organisation since 2017. He may have been in the background, he may have been quiet. Being his 3rd appearance in the FIFAe Club World Cup. That's what it means to him. That's what it means to his teammate. They might be in Italy. They might be in Sweden. But that will tell you everything you need to know. Not just Zone 4 winners, but for the first ever time, E-Club World Cup champions, Team Mkers. It went to a penalty shootout in a reverse sweep.
We wrote them off. It was 4-0 in the first game. Where did that third and fifth game come from? Principe channeled something deep within him. Remarkable. And you talk about poetic justice. Team Mkers have been the penalty shootout kings in this entire tournament. What, they had like 6 penalty shootouts from the knockouts. It was written in the stars.
Unpredictable FIFA as always. FIFA eSports continuing just to throw up these incredible stories. I mean, commiserations to that duo of Astralis. They were 2-0 up in the series. 4-0 win, as you can see in front of us, for Houston. 3-2 win. Aga, the best FIFA game he's played in the competition. But then Principe, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, when it gets to the real sort of wire of things for him, the last chance saloon where he had to win to keep his team in the competition, he did it once, and he did it on a penalty shootout deciding game. Principe, take a bow. Team Mkers, congratulations. Well done.
We're going to have a recap of that penalty shootout where Team Mkers did win. That was the first pen, slotted nicely in the corner. You talk about nerves. This is what nerves looks like. Put wide of the target. Neymar stepped up for Principe and Team Mkers. And again, just putting more and more pressure on Houston with these penalties. And he couldn't crack it.
He couldn't. I mean, this was the next one. This was where, again, wide, not even on target. And whether you're just looking down at the controller, how is that not finding its way into the back of the net? That one was then eventually saved. And you think at this point, surely they've got to score.
Yeah, Neymar steps up to the spot from 12 yards. Petr Cech, ominous presence in goal. Good penalty slotted into the bottom left corner. But those 2 early misses were what were catastrophic in the end for Astralis. Ronaldo steps up to the spot. He tucks it away. We're talking 3-2 right now, but those 2 misses early doors is what cost him, because Mbappe steps up to the spot for Team Mkers and he put it in the back of the net.
And that was it. Game, set and match. You see the outpour of emotion. Years upon years. It's been a long couple of years for that man. 2017 was the last time he picked himself up a major tournament, but he's been hustling and working non-stop since, with the backing of Team Mkers. And finally, he's now back at the forefront. He's back in the conversation. Congratulations to, of course, both Oli Bolli and Principe. Not only Zone 4 winners, but $27,500 in their back pocket. Third time in an E-Club World Cup, and, I mean, European FIFA, E-Club World Cup, drama, penalties, we had it all.
And I mean, look, at the end of the day, Team Mkers, Principe, he's the main man at that squad. We didn't think that he would have beaten Houston twice out of 3 games, and he did. He had to win, and he did win. First game, yeah, lost 4-0. Second and third game, beat him twice. Yep. 2 out of 3 times, he beat him. You accompany that with an Oli Bolli victory over Aga, and that's enough to be champions.
I mean, we were going off the facts in the groups they played. Houston won 4-2. Yep. First game in this series, 4-0. We couldn't see Principe, let alone, win the game. Came out flying. Those directional nutmegs. It was the Cristiano Ronaldo show, wasn't it, in all honesty? And that final game, an end-to-end game of FIFA. Congratulations to Team Mkers, and I mean, that was incredible to commentate, wasn't it?
What a game, what a series, and what a deserved winners in Principe and Oli Bolli. Spencer, Layla, what a game.
What a game, what emotion kept us on the edge of our seats. Oli Bolli and Principe teaming up for their Team Mkers take their opponents through 5 legs and penalties to become champions of Europe. That was fairly stressful.
That was unbelievable. I mean, of course it went to penalties after we've seen Mkers use them so much in this tournament. I have to say, fair play. We thought it would go to 5, and I thought the fact that we were starting and finishing on PlayStation was going to edge it for Astralis. But if it was that easy to predict, it would be boring, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
It definitely wasn't. They kept me on my toes, for sure. Principe, particularly, has to really take a lot of credit here, because we thought, and I thought, and the stats showed up until that final, that his teammate, Oli Bolli, had been doing the heavy lifting. And Principe came in big when it mattered. That turnaround from 4-0 down to win those 2 games, the change of formation, Unbelievable. That's what the best players do, Layla, when they need to. They find a plan B, and he certainly found it.
We did keep saying that all eyes were on Oli Bolli, but of course the shine was stolen by Principe. A fantastic performance. We mustn't neglect as well the performance by Astralis. Absolutely brilliant even to get to this point and to push them so far.
Yeah.
But let's discuss the last game for a moment, because something happened to Uston towards the end of that game.
I don't know what it was, but his confidence looked rocked. You know, he'd taken the lead again and then lost it, and he'd gone back to 2-2. And Uston stopped being the Uston we know and love. He stopped attacking, particularly in that extra time. It looked like he was playing for that last chance, which we see a lot of players do.
A dangerous strategy, really.
I mean, it is if you lose the ball. It is if you lose the ball, which is what he did. He was playing it around the back a little bit, and he was perhaps, in many ways, taking learnings from the mistakes previous Ustons have made, which is that he's often been said to be too attacking. He was learning to tighten up that defence. But he was playing with fire, but more importantly, he didn't look himself. When he was making these passes, they were going rash. He was kicking off for a throw in here and there. He did the same strategy again. Ultimately, it didn't work, where he played for a last chance, didn't get a chance. It went to penalties. Anything can happen in penalties, but he took that lack of confidence into the shootout. You know, we haven't got the reticule on this version of the game that shows you where you're aiming. If you're not practiced there and you're not feeling confident, as we mentioned yesterday, the slightest movement in that muscle memory is going to see you put a few penalties wide, exactly what Uston did. And Principe's nerves clearly didn't affect him because he came up clutch when he needed to. So that's what champions do. And it's gutting for Uston and Aga, who've been unbelievable. Both of them are chasing that record. You know, Uston to be the first two-time E-Club World Cup champion. Aga to be the first to win a World Championship and a Club World Cup. They're going to have to wait for that. But Principe and Oli Bolli add to their portfolio of trophies they already have as well. I'm really happy for them. I thought before the tournament, and I said this in the draw show, they were the strongest team on paper, but they weren't necessarily showing that until it mattered, and they have now.
And they have now. Let's have a chat to our winners. Oli Bolli and Principe are on the line. Our brand new champions of Europe. How does that sound, guys?
It feels amazing. I mean, something we have worked on, like, for a couple of weeks, a couple of months. And, I mean, Principe really shows that he is one of the best players in the world when he clutched up in a penalty shootout.
That was fantastic. I've got to say, guys, you know, some of us, we thought maybe the fact that it started on PlayStation, looking at the records previously, we thought maybe the fact that it was on PlayStation for 3 games was going to work against you. I have to say to Principe, unbelievable. Top stuff. Those last few games, really, really good. I know, Oli, you're doing the talking here, but you've got to be really proud of your teammate.
Yes, of course. I mean, Principe in the group stage and in the quarterfinal and semi-final, but he really shows that, I mean, he's so consistently good and he's always clutch in the biggest moments. And I mean, I'm so happy for Principe as well that he clutched up in this big game.
Fantastic performance from both of you. Oli, all eyes were on you at the beginning as the undefeated player. Didn't quite start exactly as you wanted. How was your composure and bringing it back, because you really did finish it right?
I was mostly angry on myself because I didn't play good in the first game and Aggie deserved the win. And I felt like when Principe won the third game, I felt like, I need to win this now and I need to step up. I just tried to stay calm and play my game.
Oli, you've been having a great year. Obviously, you've won a qualifier already. Now you've got this. I mean, what a season you're having. And where do you go from here? I mean, you've still got plenty more things you can do. Are you feeling really confident?
Yeah, of course, I'm feeling very confident. I'm feeling that I'm playing good at the moment. There's a qualifier coming up next week, so I'm just back to the grind now, and I'm looking forward to playoffs.
Oli, we're seeing some emotions from your teammate there, and no one knows him better than you. Can you tell us how he and you must be feeling right now?
I mean, I'm still shaking after Principe's penalty shootout, and I mean, he wrote to me after the semifinals that he was sorry because he lost. And I said to me, I mean, you are going to clutch up in the biggest moments and you know it, because I know that you are very good. Yeah, I'm so happy for Principe.
Congratulations to both of you. Well done. Absolutely phenomenal performance. Wow.
Unbelievable. I mean, I understand what he's saying about the shaking and whatnot, and the adrenaline does run through you in those moments.
Got goosebumps here.
You know, Oli Bolli said in the video before he was confident they were going to win. I wasn't confident they were going to win, but he was confident, and he was right to be so, you know, and he was confident in his teammate. And his teammate maybe had a lack of confidence. He said he was messaging him saying he's sorry for the performances prior. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, mate. You turned up when you needed to, and unbelievable from Principe. And to use his full name, by the way, very good from Oliver Bolivar.
Yes.
His full name, of course. You should respect.
I want to go back to Principe for a moment because we saw such an amazing amount of emotion from him, and he possibly had the biggest amount to sort of stretch and pull through because we all knew that Oliboli was brilliant. How important is this for Principe as an individual?
It's huge. I mean, Principe said himself he'd never beaten Uston before, and he's just played him 3 times and beaten him 2 out of 3.
When it mattered most.
And to be honest, and listen, Uston, I've got a lot of time for Uston. I think he's a great chap and a great player. But he was not himself in that extra time. And I think Principe ended up being the worthy winner because if you go back and watch that extra time, there was one man bringing the game to his opponent, and it was Principe. The reason that Uston wasn't able to do the strategy he was trying to do, which is play it around the back and kind of wait for that final attack, is Principe was pressing. You know, it's really hard when you get into extra time to make the decision of whether you go for it or not, particularly if you've clawed your way back in the game. Let's say you're down, which Principe was, and you go a little bit attacking and pressing to get back in it. Always have that same dilemma every time. Do I keep attacking or do I reset because I've now got closer and I'm not losing anymore? Do I be a bit more conservative? And Principe, in fairness to him, he gets back in the drawing situation and he kept attacking, whereas Uston, who'd given the lead away, he withdrew into his shell and he paid the ultimate price.
Principe well deserved of all the attention, and of course with the final leg there being so important, the penalties are all on him. But Oliboli as well, throughout the whole tournament, has been amazing.
We have to look at this, as much as there was just a huge climax there, we do have to look at this as a very long process that's gone over nearly 4 months, I think, since it started. And Oliboli has done so well throughout that. Within that time of starting qualification, he's gone and won a regional qualifier. He's been one of the form players in the world right now. So yeah, I mean, they would never have got to the final if it wasn't for Oliboli. That's just facts. But then the Principe's done the heavy lifting in the final. That's what good teams are made of. You need both people to perform when it matters. It's exactly what they did. I thought going into this final, that's why Astralis might win, because I felt their team was a bit better balanced in terms of the giving and the take and who can step up when they need to. But no, I was wrong. It was Principe that did it. He stepped up, and it's massive. He's 19th in the continent right now on PlayStation, but that was a top performance.
They've proven that the balance is right, and Mkers are your champions of Europe. We'll see you later for Zone 6.
I came here for the heart. Y'all came here for the game. I came here for the sport. Y'all came here for the fame. I came here for the heart.